reputation.
But she said she's been on the street for 7 years, meaning she's been out of your school for 7 years, and you guys have produced great people in 7 years.
Each school would have a record of how many.
But if
from
Vivian came out and probably became the president of Nigeria and
That's
said,
the thing.
nobody's going to dig up anything to check, was she really a student? You know, so
for
I
me,
think it was highly unnecessary.
Unnecessary, but I think they were trying to damage control.
Like I was saying, I think she was the first person that came to my mind, and I actually did say prayer for her, and I want to encourage everybody to just say prayer for.
When I read
Eminem's
Eminem's story, the first person that came to my mind was Demi Lovato, because you know she keeps but that's I'm like, oh, I hope some the other people that are battling will get inspiration from this as well, not just the fans of Eminem. Okay, we're moving on to our final story now on the morning edition of Tea Time, and it's on Olamide, who says it's better you follow a police officer to the station. Okay, so he's also talking on the back of a lot of police brutality.
Did you guys see what happened over the weekend?
To who?
A policeman. Yeah,
I mean, so many things happen to policemen every day, so which one exactly?
It was on a popular blog site. I think a policeman, the details are not yet confirmed, but you could see in the video, you could see a dead body on the floor and people screaming, go carry him, you don't kill him, go carry him. Did you see that? And then they started beating up the police officer. Someone even smashed his head with a bottle. So when I saw this, I think, like we said, we need to start taking actions. I'm not encouraging violence over forces, I mean against forces, but I think we need to start. The moment you see, do not let them, because most of the time you see them just get, after they commit the crime, they just get in their vehicles and they go. We need to start holding them accountable for what they do before the whole investigation and stuff. But I really, really do respect what Olamide. Like, if I have any issue with a policeman, in as much as I know my right, but if you are still insisting and I see that you are getting some type of way over what I'm saying, I'll be like, okay, officer, let's go to the station. I'd rather just follow you to the station and sort it all out there. In as much as I would try.
Sorry, let me just quickly chip in. Do you know when you actually say that? Because I've been in a situation like that. It's like, yes, let's go to the police station. Do you know he was no longer interested in the matter?
Because at the end of the day, they know that they have nothing against you.
And they know they're not going to get anything. Exactly. So they're like, so I think people should stand up and, like he says, follow them to the police station.
If you're innocent, though.
So if you're not innocent, you follow them.
That's what wouldn't even come to your mind if you are not innocent, because your mind will be like, okay, let's see, how much can I give them? Elsie?
Well, but, I mean, it's a tricky stand. I don't even know where to stand, whether follow them or just... It's not even safe in their station, really. That's the truth.
But I think your chances of getting help are better when you go there.
Your chances of getting help might not be better, because there's the cases of them. Yes,
true.
If you're innocent, there's the cases of them seizing somebody's phone, and this person was there for a week without doing anything, no way of communicating with anybody or
then
telling anybody to help you.
And to the station, they'll feel like you're being somebody, you're stubborn.
And these are people that will tell you, I will shoot you, nothing will happen. What if nobody knows where you're going and you are there, they shoot you and throw you somewhere and nobody knows? We are in a very bad state, and I don't know where to stand, but I hope this reformation just starts soon.
Exactly. I was going to say that if we're talking about reformation, then we should start, I think we should start from the stations, so that when you get there, you are assured of your safety. You are assured of getting what your privileges. You are assured of getting
your right to a phone call and all that.
Not being held for over 24 hours. And
asking you to transfer the money now. Yes.
And then seizing your phone. Because I saw the case of, there was this popular actor that was assaulted last week as well, with a pregnant woman, and they took them to Kirikiri after a judge said they can post bond and all of that. But it was all... So at the end of the day, they left him with his phone. So sometimes you have to write to your phone. That is your personal property.
All right. On that note, we wrap up on Morning Tea Time. A big thank you to my co-anchors, Ife and Elsie, for their contribution on the program. Our competent production team as well. And last but not least, our group of stylists, courtesy of Kudis Empire and Liz Harrison. Join us this afternoon for another interesting episode of Tea Time. Until then, I'm Tokumbo Taiwo. And today, I'd like to say goodbye in one African language, the African language of Swahili, Kwaheri.
Goal 10 of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals speaks largely about eliminating inequality amongst countries and peoples. The United Nations clearly recognizes that businesses can also exacerbate inequality by being complicit in perpetrating biases and discrimination. The question, however, is how exactly does this resonate with Nigeria? Lagos is the most populous city in Nigeria and has millions of persons. Among these are little persons also, often found in Osborn in Ikoyi. They are trying to make a living as they grapple with inequality and discrimination because of their physical appearances. Wisdom Abba and his wife Joanne are one of the little persons who moved from other parts of the country into Lagos to make a living by getting employed despite their physical inadequacies. They say that in Lagos, they had hoped to win the battle against discrimination, but this fight, however, seems to be a lost one as they are constantly marginalized by some employers while hunting for jobs.
Sometimes, somebody will promise me at where I'm selling market, because we drive car, we say we find work for me. I will pull up on that person. At last, the person will not find a job because promise me, many of them.
When I want to look for a job, they said they can't give me a job, that I'm too short, said I should go.
This couple is not the only little person seeking an end to discrimination in job hunting. Nkubi and Shapali are celebrity broadcasters. They too say that they have had a painful taste of societal rejection.
I got called up for an interview. One of the management now walked up to me and told me that, look, I am sincerely very sorry. You are not the kind of person we are looking for.
My sister, growing up, she'll be like, Daddy, where do you get this thing from?
Though Shapali comes across as a very confident woman, she says growing up was torturous.
I'm talking to you, I don't know my mom till now. She ran away because I am a dog.
She adds that her self-esteem was dealt a devastating blow for even thinking of marrying a tall man and begetting tall offspring as her mother-in-law rejected her.
I had a relationship that the guy, took me home to the mom. And I was there in their living room, seated, and the guy went to call the mom. The mom came and I was like, where? Sorry, oh my dear, sorry. Where is the wife? My son said he brought. And I was like, it's me. I said, stop joking now. How will it be you? My son came up to come that he brought somebody, I was not accepted.
Bash and Iyatokpe are 9-to-5 persons. They reveal that they have also been treated with inequality countless times.
My own junior brother, the one that follows me, he also thought I'm kind of like a junior to him. We usually fight every day.
I go one place. I say they find person will go sweep here. They say not true. I say I want to do it. They say, you do it. Which hand do you want to take sweep here?
With only 12 years left to expunge inequality by 2030, only little is known if Nigeria will truly wipe out this menace. But Wisdom and his wife Joanne, Nkubi, Shapali, Bash and Iyatokpe continue to hope that someday they will be treated like every other human being. I am Mary Chinda for Plus TV Africa.
Naira minimum wage has been approved, but Labour and Minister of Labour are at loggerheads over the inauguration of the board of the Nigerian Social Insurance Trust Fund. Now, electric cars, diversification of the economy are some of the conversations from the Ben Murray Bruce-sponsored bill. This is Plus Politics. My name is Felicity Ezewike. The ruling All Progressive Congress on Friday described President Muhammadu Buhari's signing of the nation's new minimum wage into law as another election promise delivered. The Minister of Labour and Employment, Dr. Chris Ngige, and Labour are at loggerheads over the inauguration of the board of the Nigerian Social Insurance Trust Fund, which has been postponed indefinitely. Joining me is Obi Ajegbo, a legal practitioner. Thank you very much for coming in. We also have Dipo Olayoku. Thank you very much for coming in.
It's always a good
political analyst.
Yes, thank you.
Pleasure to have you.
It's a pleasure.
It's been a long time coming. There were already murmurs of protest as to the delay. Now it is a law. Nigerian workers rather, get to go home with 30,000 naira minimum wage. What now? Let me come to you, Dipo.
It's been a very long journey. It started some years back. The last time the salaries of workers was increased was during the time of President Jonathan. We were approaching, I think it was 2011 election, when he signed it into law, sometimes in April or before the elections. And before then, the last time workers' salary was increased was during the time of Chief Olusegun Obasanjo. And there's a constitutional provision that cites certain years when salaries and pensions should be reviewed based on the economic reality. Because it's like those who drafted the Constitution realized the fact there are some vagaries of factors that makes the purchasing power not to be static. That's why they said every now and then, I think it's a period of 5 years or 10, I can't remember, it's Constitution, that salaries, pensions should be reviewed to reflect the reality of time. And you remember that before Chief Obasanjo increased salary, it was abysmally low. You know there was this general feeling that your take-home pay cannot take you anywhere. So since after the 2011 increase in salaries, there have been agitations. It has also been a campaign issue when somebody will say, I will increase salaries from 56 to 100,000, 200,000.
Obviously, the agitation has paid off.
Yes, so to speak. Because workers went into negotiation asking for something around 56 to 60,000.
Yes.
And they said anything below that was not acceptable to them. But if you look at the negotiation, it was very strenuous, especially the honorable lady who led the group, that Ame Pepe or so. She is an experienced civil servant, a permanent secretary par excellence. So
not to interrupt you, almost all Nigerians have at least a clear idea of the journey that we've got. Now that we've achieved, at least to some degree, what we wanted, what now going forward, Obi?
Well, the issue is how many states can pay this without going cup in hand with the government. And also, fine, there's an increase, but is it a real increase in value? When you calculate what the 18,000 they were collecting before was in dollars compared to what this increase is now, it's a bit low. There's a loss of about 20% of real value. And then also the impact on inflation when it hits the market. So those are the things we look at. But it's very good for them to have that.
Okay, the pros and cons of the new minimum wage have been, we've talked about that like a zillion times already, particularly when it comes to the increase. You just mentioned it in prices of goods and services. Do you see that happening? The bill was just passed into law yesterday. Do you see, a corresponding increase in the price of goods and services?
It's automatic. Just on the lifetime mode. Somebody posted on Facebook today that he woke up this morning to meet his landlord at the door. The man knocked the door and said, "All right, good morning, happy Easter, and echo new salary."
It's
automatic because that is the essence, and that is how money gets into circulation anyway, through salaries. And if you have enhanced salaries, it's also going to enhance the purchasing power of the civil servants. It's normal because that woman selling pepper. What I mean is that there's going to be correspondent increase.
But wouldn't that defeat the purpose of,
I think that's what Madam was trying to say.
It's a catch-22 situation.
Yeah.
You will increase, the prices will increase, and it keeps going on, and inflation keeps rising.
As a matter of fact, we had an audience with the current governor of Kaduna State when he was the minister for FCT. That's Governor Nasir Rufai, when there was agitation then for salary increase on that chief election procedure. And we had a session with him, very lively, very educating, where he said he would have expected Labour to de-emphasize on this issue of increase in salary, because it's always natural that the gains of any increase in salary will be removed by so many factors. There's going to be correspondent increase in goods and services. That perhaps what Labour should be agitating is a lot of, like a sort of social safety net, such that government will be able to take off some of the responsibilities that are already weighing down your salary, like transportation, like education, like health facilities will be affordable. A certain degree of pay workers will be entitled to some relief, such that because whatever you collect as salary, there's no how that the gains will remain permanent, because factors will come in. And we have talked the factors of goods and services, naturally they will go up. Nobody is going to dispute that. So you will discover that maybe in the next 6 months, there will be genuine costs or costs for workers to agitate again for more increased salary.
That would be very unfortunate if it happens. But we'll continue with this conversation. Let's just go on a quick break. And when we come back, Plus Politics continues. Good to know you're still with us. We continue with our conversation here in the studio with Dikpo and Obi. We're talking about the ripple effect of the new minimum wage. What, in your opinion, can government do now to maybe stop this or, you know, have some effect on the prices of goods and services so it doesn't skyrocket so much that it trivializes the gain of the new minimum wage?
We can't go back to price control. That is an abomination for us to go back to price control. What I would have expected, instead of Labour asking for this increase, was an increase in real terms. Okay, this is like what he was saying that El-Rufai was suggesting, because there's nothing we can do to cushion this effect of it. The money we hit, they will go to market. They will buy new cars. The landlords will increase the rent, because what his wife used to buy with 10,000, she's now buying with 20,000. Schools will increase school fees because the cost of everything is rising. So it's there's not really nothing anybody can do except and it will be very wicked for you to now tell them out of that salary you must save a certain percentage of it. It's infringing on their constitutional rights.
Yeah, you seem more, I would expect some more enthusiasm that Labour has finally achieved some sort of feat with the signing into law.
There are some feats that you celebrate. But from the little economics I know, this is not the way we're headed. This is not what we ought to have done at this time.
Okay, let's look at it in another from another angle now. The presidential aide Itai Nang, in a statement, said that some employers who have less than 25 employees are exempted from paying 30,000 naira. Don't you think that this might be exploited by some employers? They could just go ahead and remove one person so they don't fall to that 25 benchmark.
I think it has always been part of any salary increase. There's always like the number of staff that you have that will qualify you, because they are looking at it is the scope of your business that determines the type of revenue you will be making. That's exactly what they are looking at. And that is why that one is always built into any law that has to do with salary increase. Because they are looking at, if you have a very big business that can accommodate about 25 people, the tendency is that you will have avenue to so many things that will make the business to boom so that you'll be able to afford it. And like he said, because I listened to him, I watched him on telly, the workers also have some rights when it comes to probably some people who want to play any smart game, you know, some employers of labor. That's why I think there's an aspect where he even impressed it on the labor to also get involved in the welfare of their workers.
Even before you get to the welfare of workers, do you think that there are resilient employees in this country that will take up their employers who fail to pay the minimum wage?
You know, it is now the responsibility of labor. That's where I was going. That labor should now show more interest in the workforce, such that any employer of labor that seems to be changing his or her workers, laborers will quickly rally around and then come to their aid. But that is just the law. The law is that you must have up to a minimum number of workers because you can fit. It has always been the practice.
Yeah, but if you're expecting labor to fight all the battles, you can imagine the number of civil servants and Nigerian workers that we have. The law, from what I've read so far, also empowers the employee to ask questions. And that, I go back to the same question again. I'll take it to you, Obi. Do you think that we have Nigerian workers in Nigeria who would be bold enough to go up to their employer and say, you're shortchanging me, pay me this amount?
With the present economic
situation, of course.
Nobody would. They'll say half a loaf of bread is better than none.
Doesn't that, I mean...
No, that's exactly why the man was saying, yeah, you might not have that effrontery to go and confront your employer. But if labor comes as a force, that's why are you a member of the Labour Congress? Why are you paying your check-off dues? Are you getting the point? So those are the reasons why you belong to an organization, so that they will be able to fight your cause. You might not have the guts to go and confront. It's just a matter of laying the complaint before the labor union, and then they take it up. So it is not left to, because you can't have the guts, well, the man will just shut down the business, or the following morning you will score that they will tell you that you got late to the office, or something. Yes. But that is why the labor force, that's why the minister, the SSA was saying the labor force should now be involved in the welfare. And welfare covers a lot of things. How are you being treated by your employer, your employee? There have been complaints about foreign companies that use Nigerians like as if they are in slave camps. There is some Indian companies, Lebanese companies. Labor doesn't seem to be involved in all of these things. I think with this, because you know we have not really studied the whole gamut of the law. What concerns majority, what majorly is just the issue of salary. There are other things inbuilt. Because this thing is meant to protect the welfare and the interest of workers. So by the time we go into the nitty-gritty of the law, we'll be able to know if some of these things have been built into it. But typical of we Nigerians, the focus is on 30,000.
30,000. And for the National Assembly, they see it as a win. The Senate President even went on social media to tweet that this will enhance the productivity of the Nigerian worker. Let me take this to Dipo, because I already have an idea what your thoughts are, because you've expressed them, but you haven't said anything about this. He's saying that he expects more productivity from Nigeria. I'll still bring it to you, but let's hear it.
I doubt it, because it is ironical that somebody who is collecting about 30 million naira a month is now rejoicing somebody who's going to collect 30,000 naira a month and seeing it as a landmark achievement. Sort of, it's an insult, sort of, but we are not here to downplay the issue of insult. Madam said it initially. Is there any real gain in that increase? The answer is no. Because by the time when we were paying 18,000 naira, what was the rate of dollar to naira? It was about 180. So if you were collecting 18,000, then you are collecting $100. And if you are collecting 30,000 naira now, it's less than $100. So what is the need for the Senate president to jubilate about and say it's an landmark achievement? But the point is, Nigerian workers are always used to be injury being added to their, salt being added to their injuries. They will not do anything. And you see, there's a need for us to look beyond this thing, which my sister raised the other time. Is there any reason to jubilate at all? How do I mean? Up to today, there's about 22 states that are still struggling to pay salaries. Some of them are owing as much as 14 months because of 18,000 naira. Now you have changed it to 30,000 naira. It is not because they don't have the ability to pay. It is because their priorities are always at fault or faulty. Let me put it that way. Because all of they will quickly come to us and say, how much are we generating internally, IGR? But you look at the fancies of the people in government, how their fancies are being massaged. And then you ask yourself, where is this money coming from? It's just a matter of rearranging their priorities. And if it is a law, let it be a law. Because once you say something is a law, and the president has signed it to the law, if a governor refuses to pay, it's an impeachable offense. Maybe there's a need for us to begin to drum it into the ears of some of these governors. When there's a law, and the governor fails to carry it out, it's an impeachable offense. So, but a lot of people, when elections are coming, they begin to give them 4 liters of kerosene. Those guys will forget that somebody is owing you 14 months salary, and life goes on.
They pay about 2 or 3 months.
Or months, and life goes on before on the.
Isn't it something we should maybe collectively, Labour should maybe begin to re-strategize? I mean, remap their priorities when it comes to the affairs of the Nigerian worker.
You know, when Labour was active, was the time of Kokori. That was when if Labour talked, Nigeria shook. But now, especially with this negotiation, I did not even know there was any Labour Party involved, Labour Congress involved. I'm sorry to say that.
Is it the same Kokori of the social? We'll get to that in a bit.
Fantastic. Okay. I met him during the June 12th struggle. And he really tried, and that's when I saw a Labour leader.
So, the crop of leaders we have now, you've mentioned quite a number of things that they can do differently. But if you were to say, okay, going forward, these are the actions that the Labour should take as it affects the Nigerian worker, what would you spell out as a priority?
I think the next stage of the struggle, because we see it as a struggle, even getting the 30,000 wasn't easy. You know, the shenanigans that the governors put in place, they said 22,500, I said they said 24,000. Even when the National Council of State met, you know, it was 25,000 that was approved, and that was what the president pushed to the National Assembly. But National Assembly listening to the views of Nigeria, because there was no way they would have pushed out 25,000 from National Assembly and Nigerian workers would have accepted it. So they had no choice but to pass that 30,000 naira. I think the next stage of the struggle for Labour is to make sure that no state government fails to pay this money. We have passed the era of excuses. I remember that Labour told their workers that any governor that will not pay 30,000 naira should not be voted into office. So it is given that any governor that won in the last election must have been prepared to pay 30,000 naira. I think the next stage of Labour is to begin to strategize, to make sure that they keep the governors on their toes. They have no excuse not to pay 30,000 naira. If they get their priorities right, if they cut down on the fancies that they massage in the course of discharging their responsibility. How can you have a governor that will have an essay, the essay will have an essay, the SSA will have an essay?
These realities have been here before now, and you know that even during the struggle to get this 30,000 naira minimum wage approved, governors fought. Some governors really fought to stop it and say they can't afford to pay 30,000 naira. They made their objections to the new 30,000 naira minimum wage very, very vocal. Yet the federal government went ahead and approved it. So if these governors are unable, for some reason, which they've already highlighted to the country, that they can't pay this, how else can you muzzle them to ensure that they do that?
Can I suggest what Labour should do? They should go back to the drawing board now and start thinking of telling the employee, this person works for you, take care of their medical and take care of the medical of their children. You know, as part of the terms of employment. And also try and see if you can, there's some jobs you get, they put in benefits for the spouses and for the children. Try and let them negotiate such salaries so that what is actually going to come out of the person's pay will not be so much, but there'll be a little assistance from the employee besides paying them their money. Then secondly, what Labour looked at before they came to that 30,000 was the real cost of governance. Like Oga here said, the real cost of governance. If we follow the real cost of governance and all these excesses were streamlined, every state should be able to do it. But now, does these governors know that what they are doing is excesses, or they feel that they are doing what they need to do in governance? Do you understand?
That's exactly the question I was asking before we moved on. Same question. You're phrasing it quite differently. They have come out. There's a difference when they don't come out and say they can't pay.
There should be a consultant that will say, in this government, this is the amount of people you should employ. But you know that these people they are employing are people that helped make their story a success.
Okay. It's unfortunate that we have even gone past that level. It's beyond what the governors were saying. This thing is now a law, and it's a national law. And that is one of the problems that we have with our federation. There's another school of thought that says, if we're talking about a federation, how come that man working in Jigawa State, where relatively you can say the cost of living is low, is earning the same minimum wage somebody living in Lagos. Where to even get himself or herself to office, the whole money would have gone with, with transportation. That's another problem with our federation. But whatever anybody might want to say, this thing has become a law. So it is no time for a governor to say, but I propose 22,500 naira. It has become a law.
Okay.
So what the governor should be thinking is, how do we make sure we pay?
Well,
so
let's keep our fingers crossed and hope that they will, you know, stand up to the plate and do what is necessary. We have very limited time on this segment, so I want us to just go on to the fracas between Labour and the Nigerian Social Insurance Trust Fund. The Minister of Labour and Productivity, Chris Nkege, was supposed to inaugurate the board, but for some reason he didn't turn up, and then there was a statement that some hoodlums or some thugs were coming to overtake, and then there is this argument that Frank Kokori, the name you mentioned earlier, was omitted from the list that was given, and the workers are alleging, that's Labour now, Awaba was there, alleging that that Nkege substituted Kokori's name in the list and was planning to inaugurate the board secretly. What do you make of this entire drama? Let me talk to you first, Obi.
First of all, for him to remove, if there was sincerity, Kokori would have been the man to be there, because he has the heart of the masses in his hands. Now, why would the minister want to do something clandestine? And this is for people. This social insurance is for people, it's for the masses. So who better than a man who has fought for the masses and who knows feels the pinch of the masses than Kokori? So for him to remove Kokori, I begin to wonder what his intentions are.
Your quick thoughts on that before we wrap up this segment.
It's one of the abracadabra that you cannot understand in government, honestly speaking. Because this board was constituted since 2017 when Professor Yemi Osinbajo was the acting president. And then you ask yourself, a board constituted in 2017 was being inaugurated in April 2019. And that is why Nigeria is like this. There are so many government parastatal agencies that have no board as of today. And if you look at the law setting up some of these agencies of government, they cannot operate without the board, because the powers of the minister and the power of the head of that agency, the powers are limited.
Subject to the board approval.
The board has the wide-ranging power to run the affairs of the agencies of government. Now, this Kokori, except people have not studied the history of Nigeria. Like my sister said, who is the right person to hold that office? All of a sudden, his name disappeared. And the Labour said, Labour, because going back into history, that this man personifies Labour, that we aren't going to take this. And you can imagine, the minister called them thugs.
Quite unfortunate development.
It's unfortunate.
We will take a short break, and when we come back, we'll be talking about the possibility of electric cars. You don't want to miss that. Senator Murray Bruce had sponsored a bill for an act to phase out petrol vehicles by 2035 and introduce electric cars. In his argument, the senator had said that electric cars are healthy, economical, and would not deplete the ozone layer. Now, my question is, for a developing country still heavily dependent on oil and has done very little to diversify the economy, how do electric cars fit in? Well, I have with me Obi Adegbo, legal practitioner. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
And joining us afresh, Ugochukwu Ikaako, political analyst.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming in. So, what do you think of this bill? Let me start with you.
Well, I think for me, it's a good initiative, all right. But I think we should run before we start flying. As a nation, what Ben Bruce has suggested is noble, all right, and it shows that he's a thinking person. But as a country, we have at this point, we have plenty challenges, we have plenty issues. I don't think electric car is the problem of Lagosians. Neither do I think that the electric car is the problem of the people in Kaduna, all right. So I think we should figure out a way that we can sort out our immediate issues before latching on to what is the trending topic all over the world. What's the guy? What's his name? Elon Musk. He doesn't have the Hessman issue to bother about. He doesn't have a fuel crisis to bother about. He doesn't have a high cost of living to bother about. So for me, it's fine. It's nice. All right, we can talk about it. It can be a futuristic idea, but at the present, Nigerians are crumbling down under the weight of high cost of living, not having enough money to purchase whatever they want. I think if there's a way that the Senate can think towards making things better for the people. Not cars. Some people don't want cars. Some people just want to have a good life here in Nigeria. And I think Ben Bruce should channel his energy towards
I hope we have enough time for me to take you up on part of that thought you were sharing. But let me come to you. Ekweremadu says it's not in the best interest of this country. Do you agree with him?
I was very sad when I learned that. Let me let you in. We're an economy dependent on petrol. And we're getting signals that, look, this petrol will be turned into water very soon. And what do? I would expect the government to start thinking, if petrol goes, what are we going to do? And whether they like it or not, if the whole world is now using electric cars, who will develop petrol cars for Nigeria? So they have to start thinking ahead. They have to start thinking, what happens to our economy if there's no petrol? How can we now start saving on this petroleum money that we have? What do we do with it? What do we do with the excess crude oil? Can we refine the crude oil and turn it into something that could be used to generate fuel, electricity for the electric cars? That's what I'm expecting for them now.
Okay, let me ask you this question. will the move to ban electric cars, which we haven't even started manufacturing, just the mere thought of it that we should ban it completely, will it really help us sell more fuel?
Well, I think for me, I was sad when I read, like, I have to agree with Obi, and it's sad coming from Ekweremadu, who is a lawyer. He's a learned gentleman, so I was expecting that you should have like a higher thought towards issues and ideas concerning the nation. But for me, like, I have no issue with us having electric cars, all right? Already Ben Bruce has tested it here in Lagos. We've seen a couple of times, you know, like right around his electric car. But for me, I think, like I always say, all right, for a baby, all right, you have to crawl before you stand, before you walk, and before you run, before you start thinking about being an Usain Bolt or you want to play football like Messi. This country, electric car is not a problem. It's not. You see, anybody that is thinking, see, Nigeria at present will have the highest number of poor people on the face of the earth. So I don't know how electric car will solve our issues. All right, I think Ben Bruce and Ike Ekweremadu, they all have misplaced priorities, because we should be thinking about okay, what do we do? What are the things that we should do to cushion the effect of poverty upon this country? Right now, we have our security architecture as a country is broken. All right, Zamfara is in crisis, Katsina is in crisis. All right, the Middle Belt is still will have relative peace over the last few weeks. These are the conversations we should be having. All right.
Well, then, what will be our responsibility as a country towards the depletion of the ozone layer? First off, let me ask you, what are your thoughts about these ozone layer depletion? And that's one of the arguments that was put forward by Bruce.
No, see, the argument is valid. See, nobody is disputing that, all right? But the issue is that as far as Nigeria is concerned, Nigeria of today is, Nigeria as a country will continue to contribute to a great length, you know, the part of the issues we're having with the climate change. Already we have, what's it called? We have a we have an increasing level of heat wave across the country, all right? We've had expert advice on, okay, this can lead to meningitis, this can lead to different issues because of the rising heat wave across the country. And I think the Meteorological Institute of Nigeria has advised that this will not stop till the rainy season is here. So already we have an issue that shows that, okay, and part of these issues that we're having, especially the heat wave, you see, the generator, we have generators everywhere, all right? You see companies, you see banks, you see houses, they are not powered by renewable energy. Neither are they powered by PHCN. They are powered by personal generators or some other. So there is no way. So we're not talking about, okay, how do we face the energy challenges? See, you can, like I always say, I'll come back to it. See, you cannot start flying when you've not learned how to drive. All right, and already see, it's not a bad idea. It's a noble idea, but I think we should put it in the cooler, then solve our immediate problem before we now start thinking about what's ahead.
I think you have a thought on this, but let me rephrase, take the question from another angle and refer to something that Senator Bruce said. He argued rather that combustible vehicles will soon be phased out, and a desire to cut down on greenhouse gas emission has led some companies across the world, America even, to start manufacturing electric cars. Now, should we dismiss his argument without carefully considering where we are with technology as it is now? Some countries have moved very far away, and these are the countries that produce these vehicles. Shouldn't we start now to have conversation about how we are going to manage ourselves?
You see, I'm for the idea, because while we are thinking of how to run this electric cars, that would even give us an idea of how to generate the electricity on a larger scale. Okay, let's say this is how they're generating this electricity to run these electric cars or whatnot, because I'm told they have a filling station or something. So I feel this is a conversation that should have started yesterday, not now. Because in thinking about electric cars, we are thinking about what our option be when crude oil is no longer of much use. We are thinking of how do we sustain this population that is about 200 million. How? That thing opens a lot of questions. And from that, we can get a lot of solutions. We have to start thinking. We're not thinking, I'm sorry, we're not thinking. We have to start thinking as a nation.
Ojukwu doesn't seem to agree with that. It's a priority to even begin now to think about it.
The truth is this, seriously. Obi, Ben Bruce, all right?
Actually, Obi,
sorry. The idea is noble. All right. See, I don't dispute that. I'm saying that at present, it does not make any logical sense. So start thinking about flying whereas we have potholes on our road.
Sorry, can I interrupt?
No, it's fine.
It is not now. It is, let us pass this bill and let's start looking into it.
See, it's fine. I have no issue with them passing any bill. But the truth is this, like I said, all right?
But when will we be ready? If you're saying it is not now, the world is fast moving.
Maybe when the car is on the seas, coming to Nigeria.
The fact is, it's hard, all right? I have to admit, all right? See, we're in a country where the fundamental of our leadership is hinged on being reactive. All right, in terms of development, in terms of issues that bother us, and we don't learn from our crisis moment. All right, and we have to admit that it's sad. All right, it doesn't give me joy as a Nigerian. But the truth is this: what are the primary issues? See, the idea of leadership is to meet needs, is to solve problems and provide solutions. For example, let's take it down to somebody in Kavanchan, Southern Kaduna, or let's take it to somebody that is somewhere in Zakibiam in Benue State. The person in Zakibiam in Benue State, they are known, right? People within the middle belt axis, they are known for agriculture, all right? They are known for their large farm produce. See, they are not thinking about electric cars. They're thinking about, they produce a lot, and during this rainy season and during through agricultural cycle, they have good produce, all right? But the thing is, before the thing comes to the market, it gets spoiled because they can't even preserve it, all right? And they can't send their children to school. So my issue is, I don't have any issues. It's a noble idea.
What time? Wait, do you want to say something?
Yes,
go ahead.
Ugo, this is just one bill. There are so many other aspects of governance that the Senate has to look at. This is just one bill. It doesn't stop them from looking at the man in Benue. I believe Benue is amongst the places that the train will pass. If it should be there.
The thing is this. See, Bemburu is an elite. All right, he sees the world from his prism, from his.
Okay, I think you've actually clearly stated your stance on this, but I want to ask you this, If this is not the right time, when should be the right time for such a bill to come, for us to start to have conversation about evolving and meeting with the certain change? Remember when internet, we heard about internet when it came and the agitation and people's resistance against it. Now, you can barely do anything without the internet. So when is the right time in your opinion?
The truth is, you can't do anything without infrastructure. There's some necessary infrastructure that is supposed to be in place. For example, talking about the internet, right now we have issues with the Hawaii.
The question is, when, in your opinion, would be an ideal time for such a conversation to commence in this country?
When we have the infrastructure, when it is easier for someone in a far place in Zafra to have access to solar energy, to have access to use solar energy to power his life, to fuel his business, to fuel his enterprise daily. If you can't do that, we should not localize. Lagos is not about Nigeria. Victoria Island, where we have Silverbird, is not about Nigeria, any other place. See, Nigeria is still the far end of the north and the far end of the east and far end of the west and far end of the south. The issue at this moment is that we're trying to run before we start crawling. At present, all right, we have the world discussing 5G. All right, it's part of the issue that is a front burner between the US and the Chinese. They're trying to how do we do this? What is the 5G technology? What does it entail? All right, in Nigeria, our 4G is barely strong. Our 3G is barely strong. It's still internet, all right? And there's no way we can have that conversation at this point because we don't have that infrastructure. It's fine. See, I don't disagree with Bemburu. I'm saying that these are noble ideas, all right? But at the present, it doesn't make any logical sense. If we have more than 18 million people hungry every night,
we shouldn't be talking.
We should be talking about what can the Senate do with the executive to push ideas that will make people to go out from the poverty cycle and start earning a good living as citizens of this country.
I have to interrupt you now so we can, address this part of the conversation before we wrap things up. But we've been having conversation about diversifying the economy. Yes, we've seen work in the agricultural sector. But do you think that we have actually put in the work that is needed to diversify the economy? Because whether we like it or not, a time will come where petrol might not give us the revenue that we need.
Can I come in? Yes. See, the truth is this: we have an administration that is not pro capita. All right. You see, if there's one thing that happened before the 2019 election, is that the market voted already before Nigerians voted. All right. After the election, after Buhari was declared the winner by INEC for a few months back, all right, and a few weeks back, we saw a large amount of money that moved away from our capital market. See, you cannot diversify the economy if there is no money coming in. At present, all right. So when I say this, people think I joke. During the Goodluck administration, the oil was not oil didn't contribute much compared to other industries. Talk about the entertainment industry and the rest of them. At this point, we have a space where investors do not find Nigeria a suitable market to bring in their money.
Well, the finance minister and the minister of foreign affairs will disagree.
That's the opinion, but the market itself. See, the market itself is the most important factor. What is the market saying? What is the capital market saying? Nigeria is at this moment I'm talking to you, Ghana is the country with the highest FDI that has attracted the highest level of FDI over the last 1 year within West Africa, not Nigeria.
I totally disagree with you, Mr. Ugo. This is the time to start talking about diversification. This is the time to put all the legal framework. Look at Zamfara, they're mining gold. There's gold in Katsina. Nigeria is very rich with mineral resources. This is the time to sit down and say, well, these are mineral resources. How are we going to share? Are we going to put it all in one basket as oil, or do we now do a sharing formula between federal? This is the time.
All right. I think that's where we're going to pause. Thank you very much for coming on the program.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. We will take a look at our Plus Politics package, and when we return, I will give my take.
Ghana's President Nana Akufo-Addo has expressed worry over the inability of ECOWAS member states to fully integrate. Mr. Akufo-Addo, while receiving delegates of the ECOWAS Commission led by the Speaker, Mustafa Siselu, said talks about integration has existed on the level of mere rhetoric and has not received the buy-in of the populace. He says there is need for more action by representatives of the ECOWAS to ensure that member states fully integrate so that the region can reap the benefits.
One of the handicaps that the regional project, as well as the continental project of unity, has faced is the fact that there's not a bottom-up involvement in the process. There's been very much a construct of we, the politicians and important regional personalities, but that the more involved our people get in the growth of the institutions of ECOWAS, in the manner in which these institutions work, the more firm will be the attachment of our nations to the ECOWAS concept. It's disturbing that decisions taken by the ECOWAS community are not followed up to the letter. The one about the remuneration of members of parliament is one such. But if our boss, President Muhammadu Buhari, has said he's going to bring it up, I'm very confident that he'll bring it up and that something concrete will emerge out of it when we next all meet. He's a very punctilious and dedicated and principled man. So if he's giving you the assurance that he's going to raise the matter within the councils of the head of state, I don't have any doubt that he will do so. He will have the support of Ghana, and I think that there shouldn't be any doubt about that.
With perhaps the exception of South Africa, the whole of Africa, including Nigeria, have remained mere observers in the area of emerging revolutionary breakthroughs in the world of vehicle manufacturing. For oil-dependent countries like Nigeria, the scenario is quite scary. Fearless cars would spell a significant fall in oil revenue. This is why the call for economic diversification becomes even more than urgent. Local scientists, engineers, technologists must soak in the challenge posed by the emergence of electric cars and strive to engage in strategies to boost Nigeria to that kind of level of success. Further, government in collaboration with private sector, should embark on deliberate, real and massive economic diversification programs that would ensure the nation is not stranded in any way. The suggestion here is that specific timelines be set for the real actualization of the programs as they affect the various sectors of the economy. We acknowledge the huge efforts made so far in the agricultural sector, but more still needs to be done. It is my position that the successes achieved in the agricultural sector be replicated in other areas. Thank you for joining us tonight. Join us again on Monday. I am Felicity Ezewiki.
Hi guys, this is Toby Bakre. I'm on Plus TV Africa and I'm going to be answering some of your questions. 5 fitness tips for you guys. First of all, drink lots of water. Second of all, don't eat later than 7, 8 p.m. Stay active throughout your whole day. Instead of taking the elevator, sometimes take the stairs. Stay active. Enroll in the gym. Be it yoga, be it weights, be it cardio, just, something extra just to keep your body in shape. And the last one, mind your business. Am I dating anyone? At the time, very single. As in, what's another word for single? I'm like single Pringle. What are my future plans? I plan to do more in acting, more in hosting, do a lot of creative projects, work with a lot of brands, and start my own business. Will I ever do music seriously? I'm just always going to play with it for now. I did a collaboration with Spyro, a song called Japa, and it's a tune. So maybe I'm going to go back and play again sometime. And then it depends on the feedback. If I'm getting feedback like, oh, okay, maybe they're playing my songs in the club and stuff like that, maybe I can say, okay, Maybe I'll be a performing artist, get someone to write a song, then just go to the studio and do it. You know, maybe. Never say never. Who is my favorite Nollywood actress and why? Okay, I think I'm going to give 2 answers, or 3 answers. First of all, the first lady, Genevieve, and that's because she's so good at what she does and she's very professional. And she's a pioneer, she's kind of taking this whole thing to the next level, so yeah. And then for the newer guys, Eferele and Ini, I combined the 2. I just like them. I like their movies too. That's all. My daily routine and what makes Toby Bakre. You see, I wake up in the morning. First of all, I pray. When you're thankful for the little things, I mean, just wake up with a heart of gratitude, like thank God for life, for the little things. And then after that, I play some music, you know, get into the day already, like fast bumping music. So I'm getting into the shower, I'm already moving, plan out my day, do some exercise. And you know, so when I step out of the house, man, I'm already, the vibe is up there. So nothing can bring me down for the day. So going like that, and it's almost gonna be a good day. Like you see, right now I just have like great vibes. In my head, I'm still playing the song I woke up to. Like it's all good. All right, thank you very much, guys. Signing out.
Politics has helped shape the decision of the polity, from conspiracy theories to good old-fashioned comic politics.
These are the results of tomorrow's election. Okay, you have it already, have you?
I think we've done very well in the very difficult circumstances in which we took over governance.
Plus, politics will fill the polls of the country, from friends to frenemies, even strange bedfellows, to clones and stooges. We go beyond the rhetorics and the drama to analyze the story behind the story.
Let everybody come and say.
The perception in itself does more harm than actual corruption that you have.
Plus politics, not just another political show. It's about putting you, the citizens, in the know.
Hey, what's up, guys? You're welcome to another edition of Plus Event, and I remain your host, Ifeoluwa Oshuke. Your absence isn't an excuse anymore, as Plus Events is all you need, as we bring you the glitz, the glamour, and loads of fun.
Oh, definitely. No question. He's a living legend.
Oh, God forbid, Holy Ghost fire, I know.
I just want to be blown away. I want to be wild.
This is 11 years of doing it.
I'm surrounded by so much positivity. No, it's okay.
Yo, what's up, my people? It's your boy Starboy Terry. You're watching
Plus Event on Plus TV.
Stay glued to Plus TV Africa every Saturday and Sunday, 4:30 p.m. West African time.
Different faces, different head shapes, different personalities, different prices, and a lot more certainly inspires the various haircuts people settle for when they are at the barber's shop. One profound thing I noticed was how skeptical they are about who cuts their hair for fear of getting their preferred hairstyles wrong.
Barbing is all about who knows it, how experienced is the person, and how he can give you the haircut you want.
Over time, haircut styles have evolved from what was obtainable in the 80s and 90s. Very popular, however, was the Afro style. Now, we have style variations like short hair with cropped fringe, curly hair, dreadlocks, and a host of others. some decide to color their hair as well. Obinna, a barber who resides in Lagos, transits from Ikorodu to VI, a 40.9 kilometers journey by bus daily to give his customers their preferred haircut.
When I came back from school, I would go to her shop. She would be teaching me how to barb skin or low cut or afro. So very soon I pick up. When I pick up, I came to Lagos. It took more than 50,000 naira to start a business, but I started buying creeper. When I bought creeper, I buy gen, I buy glass and some instruments. Then I started from road. The amount I charge depends on the style of the head. When I want to barb skin, I will collect 300 naira. If I want to barb afro, I will collect 400 naira. Then punk, the same thing is 400 naira. From the barbing, I pay my rent house. From the barbing, I send my children to school. From there, I even give my wife to cook to buy some cook item on it.
He spoke of the challenges he faces. One in particular was the extreme public disclosure of his outlet.
My customers, they don't like to where someone will be seeing them, but they'll be passing through. They like someone will be hiding, they're like a block shop, so they don't like any environment.
I also caught up with Kufre Nna, a barber in Lagos who operates on a much larger scale. He has been in the business for over 2 decades and has a staff strength of over 40 men and ladies.
I would say that it was my father who introduced me to the business, but he's not a barber. He wasn't a barber. He was just looking at a way he can make me to be a better person. I'm always saying this whenever I'm interviewed that a lot of barbers, they don't see themselves, they don't see barbing as something that it's like a profession. They don't see it like a profession. They can see it like something that can take them to the next level. They're always seeing it like something that, oh, let me just manage it, just like a step-up stone for me. When it gets to there, maybe probably let me just be barbing for now while still looking for either to travel out or do something else. So, but to me, I'm always seeing, okay, from day one that this is what I want to do, or this is what I'm seeing myself, and I want to do this, I want to make it bigger, I want to make it different, I want to do it in such a way that no other person has done it before. I always believe that the work is not about the place, it's not about the beauty of the place. No matter how you set up a barber shop, no matter how you set up a salon, bring equipment from anywhere. If you don't have good workers, it's a mess. That's to me, that's my belief. I do not attend any business school, but you know, if you have a good business and that is growing well, you must seek for advice from people. So I'm not just doing a lot of things myself because I attend to a lot of top people and people that are business owners. So I'm always seeking advice from them. Some things I don't know, I used to discuss with them, so they'll put me through. Then I now know the best people to work with, but I now to choose them. My challenge, you know, it's not easy working with guys. So as number one, that's the first thing I will first say. It's not easy working with guys. And if you look at my line of business, it involves working with a lot of guys, not just guys from different locations, different areas, different states. So they are bringing all the different attitude, behavior. So I would say that's one of my biggest challenge. I would say to the aspiring barber and whosoever want to get to where I am or even beyond, that first of all, always believe in yourself. Always take everything you are doing very serious. Don't look down on anything in this life. There's no handwork. There's nothing in this life that cannot take you to beyond your limits.
Same line of business, same services rendered, however, different outcomes. Obviously, a lot needs to be done to empower small-scale business owners like Obinna, who someday hopes to expand to an even larger scale like Kufre. Irene Ubani, Plus TV Africa.
Hello and welcome to News on the Hour and Plus TV Africa. I'm David Alabi, and here are the stories making the headlines. Now we begin with party politics in Nigeria. The People's Democratic Party's candidate in the February 23rd presidential election, Atiku Abubakar, has denied the All Progressives Congress's allegation that he is not eligible to contest because he was not born in Nigeria. Atiku stated this in a response to the APC's reply to the petition he and his party joined himself for a presidential run during the 2023 election cycle. Tinubu said that as a loyal party member and progressive leader, he would have committed a terrible wrong by navigating against the president and the party's position regarding the National Assembly leadership. Tinubu lamented that a painful lesson was learned in the last 4 years regarding the leadership of the National Assembly. And still staying with reports from the National Assembly, the Gbajabiamila speakership campaign and through free, fair and transparent elections. I am sure that the President is not using members to gain popularity among the legislators, but he wants to see that there is unity within the party so we can use our members to win the speakership position and to endorse the proposed candidate, Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila. End of quote. And still talking party politics, the former chairman of the Young Democratic Party, YDP Nya Etok Ezekiel, has called on the Independent National Electoral Commission to urgently address the issue of vote buying ahead of the 2023 general elections in the country. Mr. Ezekiel, a former governorship candidate of the party in Akwa Ibom State, described vote buying as the evil that, if not addressed, would be worse than corruption. At a press conference in Abuja, the nation's capital, on Sunday, Mr. Ezekiel insisted that the architect of bad governance is due to an unchecked vote buying, which has become cancer, attacking Nigeria's institutional framework. He also called on all citizens and well-wishers to check the menace before it affects the future of the country. Quote, I'm calling on all elders, citizens and well-wishers to wake up to the evil called vote buying, the realities, implications and what it stands for the future of this country, he added. In other reports now, the Federal Ministry of Power, Works and Housing on Sunday said that the Third Mainland Bridge in Lagos was safe for use, contrary to a social media report post spreading fears about the bridge. The minister, in a statement, attached a video of ongoing underwater confirmatory tests on the bridge's piles. The statement, signed by Mr. Kim Bello, the Special Advisor Communications to the Minister of Power, Works and Housing, added that expansion joints being speculated to be dangerous was among those slated for repairs. Quote, the general public is hereby informed that the expansion joint shown in a Facebook video clip is one of those slated for change during repairs on the Third Mainland Bridge, which will commence soon. It is still functioning, and our engineers and consultants have advised that it does not pose any structural danger to the bridge and it is safe for use. End of quote. Now, the statement people to desist from spreading or sharing false information of the terrorists was made by joint operations by security guards in 4 violent attacks at ATMs and money exchanges.
Ordinarily, or leave your people to the winds just because you are trying to prove a point of morality. You know, do you understand? Because every country commits crimes globally, regardless, either overtly or covertly. So when these situations happen, the Nigerian government should at least make a statement. Put a front. Tell them that, see, Nigerians are the highest provider of tourists to Dubai in Africa or the UAE. Show some numbers, give some figures. Emirates leave Nigeria every day with at least 2 full Boeing 737 of Nigerians. We have about 3,000 Nigerians visiting that country every day. We contribute so much to the GDP. So when things like this happen, there should be a concession. And of course, people should face the music, but the Nigerian government should take a stand economically to show that they really know the worth of their people.
And that was Sam Adeleke Kozoton speaking on the death penalty of 8 Nigerians in the UAE. And that conversation wraps up news across Nigeria. When we come back after the short break, we'll bring you the reports from the rest of Africa. Just stay with us. Glad to have you back, and if you're just joining us, you're watching News on the Hour and Plus TV Africa, and here's our African news package. Sudan's Transitional Military Council, Abdel Fattah al-Burhan met with the head of the African Union, Moussa Faki, on Sunday as citizens protest days after President Omar al-Bashir was forced from power. The protesters have kept up the sit-in outside the Ministry of Defense building since Bashir was removed by the military on the 11th of this month and have demonstrated in large numbers in recent days, pressing for a rapid handover to civilian rule. On Sunday, Faki said that the African Union was ready to support Sudan through the transition phase, which would allow for a civil government to come to power. Separately, local media reported that the African Union had called on Sudan's military to transfer power to a transitional civilian-led political authority within 15 days of phase suspension from the African Union. And another report, low turnout for the public referendum on constitutional amendments in Egypt may pose a problem for President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi going forward, and that's according to an expert on Saturday. Monday is the last day of voting in the 3-day public referendum on constitutional change that, if passed, would give el-Sisi more time in office and extend his powers over certain judicial authorities. The presidential term would be expanded from 4 to 6 years, and el-Sisi will be allowed to run for his third term in 2024. Edmund Gabriel, a professor of Middle Eastern Affairs at the American University in Washington, D.C., believes that el-Sisi should be concerned about the percentage of people who turn out to vote, not just whether or not the amendment is passed.
How we are going to look at this, voting is the percentage of people who are going to participate in it. President Sisi won the last time by 91%, but the percentage of people who voted was 47%. So it's going to be very significant now to see whether or not people are boycotting or whether they are participating. This is the most controversial of all of these new amendments because especially people who participated in the uprisings against President Mubarak, they think that this amendment is leading the country towards more authoritarianism and sort of a return to the era of Mubarak, because basically what it's saying is that, first of all, they extended the period of the presidency, the term, from 4 years to 6 years, and then it's going to be for two terms. So his current term will end in 24, and then if he runs for another term, he could stay there for a whole decade. People are saying the Constitution is not the Quran. So basically, it's not the word of God. But people are concerned because there was an agreement that any president, future president, after 2011 uprisings, would serve for 2 terms, 4 years each. So now this is a change. Yeah. This is going to add. So there's a lot of concern on that.
And now away from Egypt, Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates said on Sunday they had agreed to send Sudan $3 billion worth of aid, throwing a lifeline to the country's new military leaders after protests led to the ousting of President Omar al-Bashir. The 2 Gulf Arab countries will deposit $500 million each with the Sudanese Central Bank and send the rest in the form of food, medicine and petroleum products. That's according to the state news agency in a parallel statement. The aid comes amid wrangling between the Transitional Military Council and protesters and opposition groups who are demanding that civilians lead a 2-year transitional period. The protesters have kept up a sit-in outside the Defense Ministry since Bashir was removed on April 11. They have demonstrated in large numbers over the past 3 days, pressing for a rapid handover to civilian rule. TMC head Abdel Fattah al-Burhan told state television that the formation of a joint military civilian council, one of the activists' demands, was being considered. On the flip side of this break comes our foreign news package. Just stay with us. And talking security matters on the international front, 7 suicide bombers took part in the attacks in churches and luxury hotels in Sri Lanka that killed 290 people and wounded much more than 500, a government spokesperson said on Monday. There was no claim of responsibility for the Easter Sunday attacks, which mainly took place during church services or when hotel guests were sitting down for breakfast buffets. The security forces have been conducting raids and making arrests Cabinet spokesperson Rajita Senatni said on Monday, adding that no local organization could have succeeded without the help of an international group. Now, President Maithripala Sirisena has declared a nationwide emergency that will go into effect at midnight on Monday. This measure, which will grant police and the military extensive powers to detain and interrogate without court orders, was in force at various times during the civil war with Tamil separatists.
But it is not all that, because we have got information about everything. There are some more already about so many arrests are being done. So we hope the majority, the security forces say that they are suicide bombers. So with that, we are doing all the raids, and one by one we are catching, and all the places, they are actually the training places have been identified and we have raided already. So we have taken all the actions by now. 300 people have died. Over 500 people have been injured, severely injured. Some are disabled. So we are very, very sorry as a government, we have to say, and we have to apologize to the families and the other institutions about this incident.
Meanwhile, authorities in Sri Lanka have lifted curfew on Monday today, a day after 290 people were killed and at about 500 wounded by a string of bombings that tore through churches and luxury hotels on Easter Sunday. There's still no claim of responsibility for the attacks on the 3 churches and 4 hotels, mostly in and around the capital, Colombo. One of the explosions was at St. Anthony's Shrine, a Catholic church, and a tourist landmark. Soldiers armed with automatic weapons stood guard outside the damaged churches, major hotels and the World Trade Center in the business district, where the 4 hotels were targeted. The hotels hit the Shangri-La, the Kingsbury, the Cinnamon Grand, as well as the Tropical Inn near the National Zoo. The government said that the president, who was abroad when the attacks happened, had called a meeting of the National Security Council earlier today. And recovery efforts are underway at the St. Sebastian Catholic Church on Monday, one of the locations hit by a series of blasts in Sri Lanka that killed 290 people and wounded more than 500. The string of bombings tore through the churches and luxury hotels on Easter Sunday, with most of the attacks in and around Colombo. St. Sebastian Church in Negombo is located north of the capital. There was no claim of responsibility for the attacks, which mainly took place during church services or at hotel breakfast buffets. Sri Lanka's accounted for the bulk of the dead and wounded, although government officials said 32 foreigners were killed, including British, US, Turkish, Indian, Chinese, Danish, Dutch, as well as Portuguese and Japanese nationals. Away from Sri Lanka now, more than 1,000 homes have been flooded in parts of Quebec, Canada, as of Sunday. According to the CBC, Canadian armed forces were dispatched to help local communities. Roughly 200 troops arrived in the level as the city faced rising waters along rivers and channels, CBC reported. Forecasters are predicting no major precipitation for the rest of April in Quebec, giving residents hope that the worst of the flooding may be nearing its end. And away from the international front, it's now time to bring you a business news report. And talking business back home in Nigeria, the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries has said that the refinery being built by Dangote Group is expected to reduce the need for fuel imports in West Africa. OPEC, in the current edition of its World Oil Outlook, noted that the refinery would refine as much as 650,000 barrels of crude oil per day. The Group Executive Director, Strategy, Portfolio Development and Capital Projects, Dangote Industries Limited, Devakumar Edwin, said that OPEC was correct in its estimation, adding that all hands were on deck to deliver the refinery on time. And according to him, Dangote Group's ongoing refining and petrochemicals project can meet 100% of the domestic demand for petroleum products, that is petrol, diesel, kerosene and aviation fuel, leaving the surplus for export in line with OPEC's expectation. He also added that a high volume of petroleum output from the Dangote refinery would transform the country, Nigeria, from a petrol import-dependent country to an exporter of refined petroleum products. And that's it in business news. This hour still to come. We have entertainment and sports. Don't go anywhere. And talking entertainment now, Easter, also known as Resurrection Sunday, is a festival and holiday commemorating the resurrection of Jesus from the dead, described in the New Testament as having occurred on the third day after his burial following his crucifixion by the Romans at Calvary. In this season, Plus TV Africa went out to speak with a few Nigerians on what Easter meant to them and how they would be celebrating, and this was what they had to say.
Well, we're celebrating the rebirth of our Lord Jesus Christ. And again, we have to remember the reason for the season. They say a public holiday Friday and Monday, but many people don't remember the reason for the season. Remember the season and remember the reason, so that we should all be good. Remember the death of our Lord Jesus Christ. He died for you and I, and forever we are saved. Just believe and have your faith in God, for He's there to treat you well.
Easter is about sacrifice, love, family, you know. Well, just a little bit of it. I'll be spending it at, you know, family, friends, you know, just chilling, hanging, having food after food. See,
Easter for me is a time to reflect as well and be grateful to God for His gift. Because it says in John 3:16, for God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son. And that's this giving, you know, this period. So you need to reflect on that and be cautious of the things you do to negate His gift to you. You know, you need to be very, very grateful for that life that He gave to you.
Easter on its own is the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ, okay? So that means to me that no matter how dead a situation can be, you know, life can come out of it. And dry bones will rise again, you know, and I totally believe in that. That's my principle in life, that, you know, no matter what's going on in your life, no matter how bad things seem to be, that things can always change. Things can always get better. I'm just gonna hang out with my kids, my wife. You know, we're gonna go out, have fun. The holiday. Have your holiday. I'm telling you, we'll probably lock ourselves up in the house and play, or
and turn off your phone.
Yeah, because look at it now. If we try and go out Easter time, you know, there's too much crowd.
Yeah, Easter is a time to show love, because it was out of love that Christ, you know, died on the cross for us. And how will I be celebrating Easter? I don't know. I think I'll just be going out with friends, you know, just have fun, basically. Tonight. Yes, like I'm here tonight, Alibaba here. I'll just be having fun with friends, go out.
Easter, to me, we don't really celebrate Easter in my family, so I don't really have much to say about Easter. Because Jesus Christ is involved, I'll celebrate Him.
Well, it is important to remember the reason for the season, and that's it on entertainment news. Coming up next, we have sports updates. Now, bringing you updates from the world of sports, we are focusing on boxing, as British heavyweight boxer Kash Ali has been handed a 6-month ban and a £10,000 fine by the British Boxing Board of Control for biting David Price during their heavyweight fight in March. Ali was disqualified in the 5th round of the bout, having bitten Price in the torso during a tangle that saw both guys hit the canvas. Kash had previously bitten Price in the 2nd and 3rd rounds of the contest. Ali got criticised from several quarters of the boxing world, and in the wake of the fight issued an apology to Price, his family, team, as well as the boxing community. His trainer, Adams Edges, has reacted to this punishment, stating that his ward got off lightly. He described Ali as a good guy who simply lost his head and has to serve his time. Adam expresses optimism of Ali learning from this experience and getting back to the ring in winning ways. And there you have it. Sports wraps up our news roundup of event at this hour. For more news, update and broadcast, please follow us at Plus TV Africa. That's on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. And please do remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Plus TV Africa. We'll bring you much more updates later. I'm David Alabi. Many thanks for watching.
Politics has helped shape the decision of the polity, from conspiracy theories to good old-fashioned comic politics.
These are the result of tomorrow's election. Okay, you have it already, have you?
I think we've done very well in the very difficult circumstances in which we took over governance.
Plus, politics will fill the polls of the country, from friends to frenemies, even strange bedfellows, to clones and stooges. We go beyond the rhetorics and the drama to analyze the story behind the story.
Let anybody come and say! The perception in itself does more harm than actual corruption that you have.
Plus Politics, not just another political show. It's about putting you, the citizens, in the know.
Hey, what's up, guys? You're welcome to another edition of Plus Event, and I remain your host, Ifeoluwa Oshukeye. Your absence isn't an excuse anymore, as Plus Event is all you need, as we bring you the glitz, the glamour, and loads of fun.
Oh, definitely. But no question. He's a living legend.
God forbid, Holy Ghost fire, no?
I just want to be blown away. I want to be wild.
This is 11 years of doing it.
So I'm surrounded by so much positivity.
No, it's okay.
Yo, what's up, my people? It's your boy Starboy Terry. You're watching
Plus Event on Plus TV.
Stay glued to Plus TV Africa every Saturday and Sunday, 4:30 p.m. West African time.
First point of accountability is asking questions.
Hello and welcome to Plus Sports on Plus TV Africa. I am Udoka Njoko.
Hi everyone, welcome to Plus Training.
You cannot continue to recycle poverty while you're spending a lot of money on unproductive ventures.
The government has to feel the impact.
Honorable Commissioner, sir, welcome to the show.
That is how we get looped into a cycle of insanity, repeating the same thing and expecting a different result. That cycle of failure is unsustainable and it has to end now.
Perfection Train is back.
They take us to the bush and start asking us to call our people to send money.
What can be done as an intervention for them right now to stop abuse of all children?
That is how we get looped into a cycle of insanity, repeating the same thing and expecting a different result. That cycle of failure is unsustainable and it has to end now.
Perfection Train is back.
They take us to the bush and start asking us to call our people to send money.
What can be done as an intervention for them right now to stop abuse of all children?
Hi guys, welcome to Tea Time, where we dish out big entertainment stories. I'm Elsie Godwin, and here with me in the studio is the ever controversial Ife Oshoke. Yeah. Why are you laughing?
Ever controversial?
Well, you're always controversial.
No,
sometimes
no.
for good, sometimes for but yeah.
I think controversies I don't know. They're good, right? It's good to be controversial. Yeah, it's good
you
to.
Probably need to ask Stone to decay.
Well, it's working for her, isn't it?
Is it working for you?
Yeah, well, I think so.
Okay, so what's new?
What's new? I don't know. Should we talk about the Kanye West Sunday service
I mean,
or
you're
the
his
Coachella?
fan, so yeah, let's talk about
Oh, you're not a fan of Kanye, but you're a fan of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, right? So, what
I'm
you
a fan
watch?
of their success.
Their success?
Yeah.
I like that. Punchline or Ronnie.
So what's new?
So Kanye West was supposed to headline the Coachella, but he turned it down because they did not give him a customized dome that he wanted. So instead, they opted for a Sunday service, and it was well attended by lots of celebrities, you know, people like Kylie, the old Kardashians were there.
Of course, I mean, family.
Chance the Rapper was there, Travis Scott was there, a bunch of others, like I can't go on with the names right now. And the best part of this was when he performed Jesus Walks, because it was like...
that song is evergreen.
Yeah, it was like they were moved to tears, the choir himself, yeah, so that was a good show. And then he also premiered his new song Water, featuring Ty Dolla $ign, so I'm
I need to
looking
go and
forward
listen to
that.
that one. Compare it to Jesus Walks, which
Oh,
did you
come on,
prefer?
man. They're two different. You know, Jesus Walks, like you said, is evergreen. It's a classic. So, Water, I may have to listen to it. And Jesus Walks has grown into me, so I'll be biased right now if I have to pick one over the other. So, I'd rather just chill and let's see how Water
how it
goes.
settles.
Yeah, maybe the Water will touch me.
Maybe.
Just maybe.
All right, so moving on to today's story. Our first story is on Tony Abraham, who has a message for online bullies. Okay, I think on this one, she is weighing in on the social media bully thing. I mean, people just come on anybody's page, type anything they want to type without even trying to stop for a while and consider what their words will do to who they are sending this message to. I mean, I remember she's the same person they've called, is it chicken leg at some point?
Oh, have they?
Oh, yes, they have. You know,
Does she have chicken legs?
Okay, I think the pictures we have is not full, so I won't tell you to look at the picture, but you need to go and check that.
But would you say, knowing Tony Abraham, would you say she has chicken legs?
What does chicken leg mean?
I don't know. You're the one said they've called her.
I mean, they've called her chicken legs.
I think when they call people chicken legs, it just means their legs are skinny. Does she have skinny legs? Maybe that should be my question.
I'm not very sure.
You're not very sure. You're just being very
I'm just
modest.
not very sure.
You just don't want to talk about
if
it.
I just talk about social media bullies, please.
Are you scared of being in our bad books?
Nah, I'm not scared of being her bad book because I don't know if there's anything that can come out of being her good book. So, yeah.
That's even worse. Nothing.
It's more like, I mean, I wouldn't want to say
She's
things
a
that
movie
would
producer.
hurt
She
her.
can probably give you a role in one of her movies, you know? You never know. You're an aspiring actress too, aren't you?
But the thing about aspiring actress is, you know, if I'm just an actress or someone that just wants to become an actress, I would decide to take any kind of role on any kind of movie, to do any kind of thing for my face to be out there. But I think I'm not the regular
It's
aspiring
not that deep
actor. I mean, it's not that deep. So if I'm given a movie role and then I read the whole script and I feel like if I watch this movie myself, if I wasn't in it, I'll criticize it. Then I probably won't do it.
Okay.
So I mean, she has
Well,
not
she's just
done that
telling you
kind
she's
of
not
production.
an ambitious, aspiring actress. So,
if social media bullies, what do you have to say
all right.
to them?
So, I like I like the angle she came from, because that's a very rational angle to look at it from. That not everybody can do this criticism the same way. Some people have tough skin, some people have tougher skins, and some people are very weak. Some people can actually take their lives by seeing your troll. Some people can actually do crazy things by seeing your troll. And some people can see it and be like, and they even laugh at it like, oh, can you imagine what this guy
Someone
just
like
said?
Tenny.
Or someone like me.
I mean, but then
Yeah.
you don't even know if
But Tenny, to be precise,
you don't
I
even
think
know
Tenny...
if the thick skin they put up on social media is really that thick. You know, sometimes we can just stay indoors and cry. Nobody knows. I mean, it could be while you're taking your bath and the tears just rolls down and the water cleans it off, and then you come out and form you know, I'm strong. So I think we should be careful, even while we think
regardless.
that this person has got it.
No, you don't even have to think maybe one person has a thick skin or the other doesn't. I think it is just totally wrong for you to get on people's pages and just start writing. I think there's something called constructive criticism, am I right? Yeah, so even if you have to criticize somebody, be careful with your words, construct it properly, and still say, nobody's saying, as long as you're a public figure, you would definitely get trolls. There's nothing you can do about it.
When it comes to body shaming, which is the part she's coming from most times, I think no matter how diplomatic you want to be about it, those that would decode it and decide to say, oh yeah, auntie, just say what you want to say. You get.
Okay,
so
the person
maybe
that
we should just learn to mind our business.
Yeah, you should lose some weight. You're too fat. The person could have written, "Dear Tenny, I'm a big fan of yours.
Okay.
I would have preferred you if you lost like 2 pounds and then you would look better.
What's the
but
difference?
it's not like you're not amazing the way you look right now, but you may just look better if you lose some weight. You know, constructive. More constructive.
What's the difference?
Construction.
Laura, you're fat. So do you think Tenny is fat?
No, you want to put me there?
No, you brought it up. Do you
I think Tenny has her own swag. I don't think she's fat. It's like somebody asking me, do you think Ife is chubby? I don't think Ife is chubby.
No, Ife is not chubby. Ife is okay the way he is.
Oh, nice. Oh, thank you very much, Chelsea. Why are you so sweet to me? Is it because Tokunbo is not here today?
But did you see the picture of Tenny with the Rambuba? Have you seen it?
No.
Oh, goodness. I need to find it and show it.
Is she really fat?
It's time for a break, but when we return, it will be time to discuss a couple more entertainment stories. Stay here where you got it.
Hey, what's up, my people? It's your boy Elvis Poco. I want to say to you, keep watching Tea Time on Plus TV Africa. Big stories live here.
Best concert of your life? Don't just stay cool, stay refreshed with an ice-cold Coca-Cola. Pick your lane, solo or bigger boy.
Taste the feeling.
First point of accountability is asking questions.
Hello and welcome to Plus Sports and Plus TV Africa. I am Udoka Njoko.
Hi everyone, welcome to Plus Training.
You cannot continue to recycle poverty while you're spending a lot of money on unproductive ventures.
The government has to feel the impact.
Honorable Commissioner, sir, welcome to the show.
Hi, my name is Aiko Kichuku.
And Florence Okichuku. Keep
watching Tea Time on Plus TV
Africa.
Welcome back. You're watching Tea Time right here on Plus TV Africa. Up next is the drama as it continues around Justice Smollett's case, as it is being reported that Justice Smollett's attackers Abel and Ola are struggling to find acting work. Okay, if I'm coming right to you.
Obviously, this is quite obvious that this would affect their career, or what happened with Juicy would affect their career. So this doesn't come to me as a surprise. But I think the main reason why this story even broke is because Abel is succeeding in his boxing career. I don't know what they call it again, something Globe. There's a particular name. I don't know if we can get that, but I hope we get that. There's a particular should I call it tournament, or that he actually won all through, and yes, that was a good one. So that's why this came out. They said all the agents are turning them down, and if you can't get an agent in America, it's not like Nigeria where
where you can just go for auditions
and stuff. You need a very good agent to get you movie roles.
Into the audition.
And then these guys are not even like that big.
Okay, it's called, prestigious Chicago Golden Gloves
tournament.
Tournament.
And it was Golden something. Yeah, Golden Glove Tournament. So yes, that. So the reason why they broke the story is because he won almost everything on Friday. Not almost everything, I think everything, and he was the champion. Yeah, he emerged the champion. So I think it's going to be crazy for them going forward, getting acting gigs, because it's not like they were that big that people will be like, okay, we've seen your previous work. They were extras on Empire, so it's not like we didn't even notice. Did you ever see them? I'm a big Empire fan, and I never saw this guy, so I don't even know what role they played. So.
I think I'm happy that the story broke, because all the while I've been asking, so where are these guys? What is going on with them? Nobody is. It seems they were just let off.
So right now we know they are free men, because this guy is actually
but
contesting.
They're technically not free.
He's actually contesting. Like, there's more to this Josie thing, and I just hope that
Sorry, who's contesting?
As in, this guy still went for a boxing contest.
Oh,
so,
okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah,
so they're free.
They're free. It's not like they're being limited in any way. It's not like they're saying that, oh, you're under house arrest.
I still feel like they have they struck some sort of deal with the police.
Definitely, even Josie, they all struck a deal.
Yeah, and I think all that will come to the open very soon.
My problem is they need to tell us. What is the deal?
Exactly happened?
Why did you grant them this deal? On what grounds? Those are the questions you need to answer the general. Unless you're telling us you guys don't matter, we do what we do. So which is why we call it a whitewash of justice, like they did over there as well. So until we know that, Josie.
I think the interesting part for me on this story, this particular one, is the part where they talked about people booking them, or more or less overbooking them for personal training. They are fitness trainers.
Yeah, and now
then they realized that they were not even booking them because they wanted to be trained by them. So just a case of, what happened with Josie? They wanted to get into their lives to know if they were part of the crime, or at least to get concrete stories from them.
You saw
and right
that?
now, and right now,
I saw something contrary to that.
Not moving anymore.
Yeah, because I saw something contrary to that, because they said that the Jane business was actually going well
in the first
before the
months.
case.
Yeah. Was it before or after?
Yeah.
Immediately after it boomed. Like, people wanted to reach out to them, but suddenly it stopped. So it was a case of people wanted to see them face to face to ask them what happened between you and Josie, So the case of them not getting agents, do you think that it has anything to do with solidarity for Josie Smollett?
No, I don't think it has to. I just think you can't, once your integrity, there's a quote I always say, integrity is the best currency. Once you have good integrity, somebody would always refer you. As long as you have good integrity, somebody will say, oh, go speak to Elsie, she's done this, she's a very good person. You get, like, people will speak well of you. But in this case, they've lost their integrity, because if they are actually part of a scheme to, it's all crazy, and this is something that people actually deal with in real life. Like, they go through the hate crime, they go through the homophobic slurs every day. People go through that, and then you guys actually join hands with somebody to go. Your integrity has been shattered.
Is
so
there
who would
coming
work
back from this?
Well, you never know. Never say never. I'm of the opinion of never say never. So you never know. There may be he's doing well in boxing. Before you know it, it's probably the heavyweight champion, and then it's probably the next Anthony Joshua. Who knows?
Well, that's just one person. Anyways, let's move on
but
to
they're
the
brothers.
next story.
Like B-Red said, his success is rubbing off on him. So
next
maybe
is
this guy's
headline
success.
on Sean Tizol as he opens up about quitting music. Okay, from what I saw, he was trying to...
Who's Sean Tizol?
Shole, Kole.
Oh, that guy.
Na, na, ta, na, na. Should I continue?
He can do fun like say he live.
So I know you know Sean Tizol. I mean, he gave us like cool jams.
But that was like...
yeah, and that was why people...
Was that not our nursery rhyme when we were growing up?
It is your nursery rhyme. That was why people concluded that he left
My sugar mommy is with me.
You know, that he left the industry and he left the country even. So he has come out to debunk those stories, to say, oh, he didn't go anywhere. I mean, he was saying that he worked with... Can I remember now in 2016? Yeah, that he was one of the first Nigerian.
That was the first Nigerian to meet, and I found that very, 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 very cocky.
I think he was just trying to explain the kind of level he got to and the level of hard work he needs to maintain to sort of
I think he got greedy too.
How do you mean?
Don't worry, I have inside info.
You have to give us this inside info. You will not drop tea.
On Sean Tizol, because he actually got greedy, and that is why his music is not moving as well as it is. Like what I told you about integrity. If your integrity is shattered, it's shattered for good. I don't think you don't need to tell us. Why would anyone even think you're quitting music? There are people that are not so relevant, but we don't even think they've quit
that
music.
There was a time a conversation started on Twitter where people were asking, "Oh, where is Shontizo?" and some were responding, "Oh,
He's dropped some songs. He dropped songs in 2018,
and I think this interview
2017.
is of the fact that he wants to drop something new now, and it's just a case of bringing him back to the media for people to talk about him and know that he still exists.
No, I think it wasn't. I don't think it's a new song. I think it's a concert that held on Friday at the African Shrine.
Okay, so
I think that was why he did the interview. Yeah, he held on Friday.
Was that his concert?
Yeah, it was his concert. Yeah,
Oh,
I think he
okay.
headlined the concert at African Shrine because he said he wanted to connect with his fans and give them So I think Shontizo, you need to. I don't know. I'm saying this now from a brother to a brother. I think you need to actually go back, retrace your steps, and actually go back. You know, Shontizo offended a lot of people in the industry.
Oh, really?
And a lot of people are pissed off with Shontizo.
In what way?
My sister, it is not my
Tell
mouth
us.
that you hear
Tell
that.
us. We need to know if you know these things, why won't we know? We have you to get this.
I'm telling you
gist.
part of it now. So that's what I'm saying. Shontizo really needs to retrace his steps. For people to even think you quit music after all the ad, because I know Shontizo is still putting in a lot of work because he's still dropping songs. But those songs are not getting airplays. It's not because they are not good. It's because
someone is
it's
angry
like
at
it's like it's
And he
getting
needs to go, maybe he needs to go and
blacklisted.
prostrate too, right?
You know, you need to be the Demi V. He needs to go. Come
Okay,
on, man.
talking about Shontizo
D-Tunes again. What happened to that?
So he offended D-Tunes. Is that what you're saying? Is that where?
Please, are we going on a break?
No,
Time
we're
for
not going on
another
a break.
When
so,
we come back.
hold on. The Shontizo thing. Did you see the story of Ashidapo, the guy who wanted to perform at this same event? Now that you mentioned it, he just came back to me and he said he went on stage and the DJ couldn't play his song. He didn't have his song. So at some point he just had to freestyle and all that. And then he had to say, after writing the story, he said people should tell him sorry. You know, and that made people love him. And people were saying, oh, they're still praying for him, right? And I think we've reached out to him to come on the show, and our producer is working on it. So hopefully we'll have him come and share his experience. And maybe he will tell us a bit about Shontizo, since you're not telling us. I don't know.
No, I'm telling you what I know
you've
from
dropped
my
one,
angle.
D-Tunes and Shontizo.
No, I didn't drop anything about D-Tunes, and I don't know how you are connecting the dots. I'm not saying there's a beef. They're still brothers.
Okay.
D-Tunes still call Shontizo in front of me every day. So yeah, they're still
every
friends.
day.
Babes.
Whoa.
These ones are making me.
Okay, time for another break. When we come back, it will be time for one more entertainment story. Keep it right here. We'll be right back.
Hey guys, what's up? It's John Oga. Keep watching Tea Time on Plus TV Africa.
Seek their dream. Throb with desire. Joy welled up in their hearts. A brand new life adventure is about to begin. Create a life for someone new. Nigerians in China on Star Times Da Donkoa.
My name is Kalu Ikagwa. You're watching Tea Time on Plus TV Africa.
Welcome back. It's still Tea Time right here on Plus TV Africa, and we're moving on to our next story, which is on Man 56, who was shot alongside murdered rapper Nipsey Hussle and is released from custody and has his arrest for violating his probation dismissed. Okay, Ife.
That was a very long headline, Man 56.
Yeah, I mean, you know, one of the guys that were shot, that was...
Yeah, he has a name.
So what's his name?
I really can't remember, but he has
Wow,
a name.
really? You know he has a name you can't remember, but you want me to remember?
Yeah, and it's everywhere. Well,
I like how you shoot yourself on the leg most times, but go ahead.
No, but it's the truth. Like, he has a name, Man 56.
So what is his name?
Man 56.
Anyways.
Okay, so this guy. You remember when the story about Nipsey Hussle's death broke? I told you about the fact that I was trying to do a good deed for somebody because I listened to this guy's full phone conversation with
Nipsey.
No, with an on-air personality while he was still in prison.
Okay.
So this was actually the guy that Nipsey was going to help. But now there's another twist to the whole Nipsey thing, because if this was the guy that Nipsey was trying to help, or maybe it is also just a coincidence, because they said they took him back to jail for violation of his probation on the grounds that this is a murder convict. He spent about 25 years in jail for killing somebody with a knife, and he came out in December, so he still has his probationary period, right? And then this guy is not supposed to be, as part of your probation laws, you're not supposed to be affiliated to gangs or mix with them or anything like that.
Or basically around any gang issue.
So if Nipsey was actually like
part of a gang.
Yeah, a gang, like, and everybody knew about it, he wasn't supposed to be with him. But it was like he was walking by with his nephew who also got shot. And his nephew was like, yo, Unc, you don't have to keep wearing the same t-shirt. You're not in prison anymore. Look at Nipsey over there. Go talk to him. He will hook you up nicely. You get, and he said he wanted to speak to, because like I told you, like I said, I listened to his phone conversation. And he said, well, and Nipsey was like, okay, she gave him a week. He's going to do something about So I don't know if this is the same guy that Nipsey, that it was reported that Nipsey left his house. So I don't know if, or it's just a coincidence. But at the end of the day, I think the law is just crazy. A man got shot, and you figure because he was around the gang. I understand where they're coming from. Like, that could drag you back into the life that you were incarcerated for in the first place. But at the end of the day, I think this guy almost died. Because this guy was like, they were not even treating him. He was arrested. Like, he was under treatment, but he was arrested. He was in police custody.
But I feel like he shouldn't have been arrested for violating his
that's why all the charges have been dismissed.
Yeah, it's been dismissed because everybody knows what happened, right? You know, this is not a case of him collaborating with, what's his name again? Is it Eric Holder, right?
Yeah.
It is, should I call it coincidence or a bad twist of fate? I mean, he got shot also. Thank God he did not die. So if he was dead, were they going to drag a dead man into prison for violating probation, you know? So I'm glad this whole thing has been dropped, and hopefully he gets to pick himself back again and not be found around another gang member, because if that happens, I don't think anybody's going to help him out of it in any way. You know, so I don't know.
Well, I'm just glad it's safe, and I'm glad that there are two other guys that were shot alongside Nipsey also alive, and maybe we'll get more details about what actually went down. Yeah, so.
Okay, and that's where we wrap up on Tea Time this afternoon. Join us tomorrow for absolutely fresh episodes of the program. Until then, a big thank you to my co-anchor Ife Oshonkeye, our group of stylists, Kudis Empire, and Liz Harrison, and the entire production team. I'm Elsie Godwin saying thank you for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Politics has helped shape the decision of the polity, from conspiracy theories to good old-fashioned comic politics.
These are the results of tomorrow's election. Okay, you have it already, have you?
I think we've done very well in the very difficult circumstances in which we took over governance.
Plus, politics will fill the polls of the country, from friends to frenemies, even strange bedfellows, to clones and stooges. We go beyond the rhetorics and the drama to analyze the story behind the story.
Let anybody come and say.
The perception in itself does more harm than actual corruption that you have.
Plus, politics, not just another political show. It's about putting you, the citizens, in the know.
Hey, what's up, guys? You're welcome to another edition of Plus Event, and I remain your host, Ifeoluwa Oshuke. Your absence isn't an excuse anymore, as Plus Event is all you need, as we bring you the glitz, the glamour, and loads of fun.
Oh, definitely. No question. He's a living legend.
Oh, God forbid, Holy Ghost fire, I know.
I just want to be blown away. I want to be wild. This is 11 years of doing it.
I'm surrounded by so much positivity.
No, it's okay.
Yo, what's up, my people? It's your boy Starboy Terry. You're watching
Plus Event on Plus TV.
Stay glued to Plus TV Africa every Saturday and Sunday, 4:30 p.m. West African time.
That's the Brazilian who, with the longer blades that Oscar wasn't too impressed with. 200 meters, but we must stress, absolutely legal.
Sounds of the surf.
Yeah. Loud at you, he's a hater. I don't want no bad energy. Man get used by radar, can't see my enemy.
And this time they are away, and Peacock goes away strongly.
She wants a man from London, she wants a fellow with felonies. That's from being my team. There's no I in it, I bring it on my team. Just when they saw my team, even the bouncers bounce when they saw my team. Who do you wanna never know? Don't be a sheep when you can be the gold. Great, it's about time and you never know. Don't show up to my show, you've got no energy.
You're watching Plus TV Africa, and this is Tea Time.
I loved the energy when I came in here. It was so positive. I was like, I can't live here.
My real names are Akbofio Fobo, Akborobo Mere.
I think my father is a comedian because most times when he calls me, he's like, yo, make sure you use condom, you know, them girls out there.
So are you telling me I should have shot my shots?
Ife, you are my younger brother.
Age is nothing but a number. What? I'm a vampire.
I believe in equal rights for women, and I also believe that a man is the head of the house, so we need to draw our limits somewhere.
It feels so good. Now can I do my jam now?
Yeah, you can.
Thank you.
First point of accountability is asking questions.
Hello and welcome to Plus Sports and Plus TV Africa. I am Udoka Njoko.
Hi everyone, welcome to Plus Training.
You cannot continue to recycle poverty while you're spending a lot of money on unproductive ventures.
The government has to feel the impact.
Honorable Commissioner, sir, welcome to the show.
That is how we get looped into a cycle of insanity, repeating the same thing and expecting a different result. That cycle of failure is unsustainable and it has to end now.
Perfection Train is back.
They take us to the bush.
and start asking us to call our people to send money.
What can be done as an intervention for them right now to stop abuse of all children?
All right, so country people, now good evening. On top this very o'clock, now do I say now join us on top this hour for news on the hour for Plus TV Africa. This one at the 3-1BC once I'm given at this very o'clock. My name now Promise Nero. They said the People's Democratic Party candidate for the February 23rd presidential election, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, don't deny the All Progressive Congress allegate of say he no qualified to contest because they're not born out for Niger. Atiku talk this one for inside one matter when they say they arranged for the APC reply to the petition when they say they file one file against them before the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal. He said they born him on November 25th, 1946 for Jada Adamawa State. Therefore, in a Niger person. The APC, they argue for the response, say as of November 25th, 1946, when they born Atiku, Jada are part of Northern Cameroon. But Atiku say he in a Niger citizen. He can say he Pale and he Male, all of them. And Niger, they born all of them. So in a Niger person. The All Progressive Congress National Oga Senator Bola Tinubu talk say in focus na to assist Oga President Muhammadu Buhari to develop, refine, and some better agenda when BC could ginger the economy and make Niger people go forward. Now, what did Tinubu talk for inside the statement when BC the title Tinubu focusing on the issue of today? Tomorrow is the master of himself, where a media officer, Oga Tunde Rahman, released for Lagos. The national Oga be the react to media report where BC the claim say he dey do some kind wuru for the APC nomination process for the National Assembly and the leadership to position itself for a presidential run during the 2023 election when it come. Apart from say this report dey force the fit also Wunjo President Buhari historic journey to take reform Niger. Tinubu say as a loyal party member and progressive leader, if he don't commit big wrong to say go against the president and party position when we say regarding National Assembly leadership. The Gbajabiamila speakership campaign, Mrs. Kajidat Buka Ibrahim and one before Minister of State for Foreign Affairs don't talk say President Muhammadu Buhari and the ruling of Progressive Congress don't regret say they leave lawmakers to talk the leadership of the 8th National Assembly. The president at the APC be don't endorse the majority leader of the House of Rep, Oga Femi Gbajabiamila, as Speaker of the 9th National Assembly to answer the question on whether the APC be the 5 flexible National Assembly leadership. Buka Ibrahim say no be so it take be. Say the parliament no be rubber stamp. Say everybody will enter through free, fair and transparent election. The president know they use members gain popularity among the legislators, but he wants to say unity go there within the party so that we go fit use our numbers. Win the speakership position and endorse the proposed candidate, Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila. I talk. The before Shemo of the Young Democratic Party, YDP, Nya Itok Ezekiel, don't call on the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, may they address the issue of vote buying ahead of the 2023 general election for Niger. Oga Ezekiel, when be before governorship candidate of the party for Akwa Ibom State, say vote buying are the evil way when they say he no go do better and it go cause wuru. Inside the conference for Abuja on Sunday, Oga Ezekiel Hammer said the architect of bad governance is saying that the unchecked vote buying when they say that they do and it don't become like cancer when they say they attack Nigeria institution framework. He said make us citizens aware we shall check the matter before it affect the future of the country. The Federal Minister of Power, Works and Housing Sunday talk say the third mainland bridge for Lagos is safe for use as opposed to waiting in one social media post be talk about the bridge. The ministry inside statement and video of the current on that test where they say they do on top the water of the bridge talk say the joint where they say they make people fear and a part of what they get plans to repair. The bridge still decayed and it not get any cause for alarm. Our engineers and consultants talk say it not get any danger and it is safe for use. They say make people stop to the spread fake news about the bridge. The Third Miller Bridge now the longest of 3 bridges when connect Lagos Island to the mainland. The others now Eko Bridge and the Qatar Bridge. The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant Colonel Tucker Buratai, he talks say the Boko Haram terrorists don't they get restrained with the recent renewed joint military offensive against them for the northern Borno and Borno border areas. Buratai said the offensive don't push them go the remote island for the Lake Chad Basin, represented by Oga Major General Lambidi Adeoshu, the Chief of Training and Operation, the Chief of Army Staff, talked this one inside interview for Mogunu for Borno North after when they grooved the Easter with plenty army people there. He said the restraining of the terrorists, the possible sake of the joint operation when busy the troop of the Lake Chad Basin country, including the multinational joint task force they arranged inside the address. For the address, he told them well done for their zeal, courage, and commitment, and say they not they only work for the safety of Nigeria and their country, but for humanity. He said the Chadian troops are brave soldiers and they're ready to provide all their requirements in terms of logistics. The presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party for the February 2019 election, Atiku Abubakar, on Monday, don't beg federal and Kaduna state government make the cash and punish the killers of the British aid workers, Fayemuni, and our Nigerian partner, Matthew Gucci. When he said the key for Kaduna state for inside statement, he said it's important to keep Nigeria safe for Nigeria and foreigners. He said the death of any Niger and foreigner from terror, crime, or insecurity they very sad. According to Ram, he said nobody life they worthless of religious, political, or criminal cause. The before Vice President don't condemn the killing, and he hammer say Nigeria must once again the no peace, progress, and prosperity. The senior special assistant to the President of Foreign Affairs and Diaspora, Mrs. Abike Dabiri Erewa, don't describe the death sentence on top the 8 Nigeria for the night. Said the Arab Emirate UAE say it don't make sense at all. 8 Nigeria people now they don't receive death sentence on top Wednesday for Sharjah, UAE for armed robbery, for money exchange and cash machine ATM across the Emirate for December 2016. The presidential aid will show concern on top the developer talk say the thing will happen not be what they describe the personality of the people of Nigeria. Now, a total of 20 suspects, 9 them be held for attacking security guard for 4 violent attacks for ATM and money exchange across Sharjah for late 2016. 9 of the suspects, 9 they arrest, 8 collect death sentence, while the 9th person collect 6 months imprisonment. Some of the accused confess to their crime, while others deny the charge where they level against them. The verdict are accorded by Judge Majid Al-Muhiri of Sharjah Criminal Court on Wednesday. We follow Oga Sam Adeleke, on travel consultant, Yan, for this matter. Make we hear.
I do think that Nigerians are not so valuable to the Nigerian government. The value of human life, even within Nigeria, is not as valuable as the life of the elites. So when an ordinary Nigerian goes outside of the country to commit crimes, the government even chastises you. The other day, Abike Dabiri, the presidential advisor on diaspora, was chastising the Nigerians who were to be beheaded in Saudi Arabia that don't go embarrassing our country. It is your fault. Whatever wrong that you do, it is at you are going to face the music. In diplomacy, it's about negotiations. It's about standing up for your people. It's about showing that you value the lives of your people outside the country. It's about perception. It's about imaging. You can't just ordinarily dismiss or leave your people to the winds just because you are trying to prove a point of morality. You know, do you understand? Because every country commits crimes globally, regardless, either overtly or covertly. So when these situations happen, the Nigerian government should at least make a statement. Put a front. Tell them that, see, Nigerians are the highest provider of tourists to Dubai in Africa or the UAE. Show some numbers, give some figures. Emirates leave Nigeria every day with at least 2 full Boeing 737 of Nigerians. We have about 3,000 Nigerians visiting that country every day. We contribute so much to the GDP. So when things like this happen, there should be a concession. And, of course, people should face the music, but the Nigerian government should take a stand economically to show that they really know the worth of their people.
All right, so this night time to take one sharp break. When we show back, we'll summon and plenty other three. Make una no go anywhere. Sudan Transitional Military Council Abdel Fattah al-Burhan will meet with the head of the African Union, Moussa Faki, on Sunday, April 21st. As citizens they do will not go grey waka on top of President Omar al-Bashir may take come off from power by fire by force. The people when they do will not go agree, don't sit down, put for outside the Ministry of Defense building since when they removed Bashir by the military on April 11, and they don't demonstrate in large number for these recent days as they worry for quick handover to civilian rule. On Sunday, Faki talk say the African Union they ready to support Sudan through the transition phase when go allow for civil government to come to power. Separately, local media don't report say the African Union don't call on Sudan military to transfer power to a transitional civilian-led political authority within 50 days or make them face suspension from the AU. Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates on Sunday don't agree to send Sudan $3 billion of aid. The two Gulf Arab countries could deposit $500 million with the Sudanese Central Bank and send the rest in the form of food, medicine, and petroleum products. This is now accorded by State News Agency for a similar statement. There they come for the middle of the Transitional Military Council, TMC, and they will not go agree with an opposition group where they said that they demand make civilians lead 2-year transitional period. The people when that they do will not go agree, don't sit down, put for outside the defense ministry since when they said they removed Bashir on April 11. TMC head Abdel Fattah al-Burhan be tested television said the formation of Joint Military Civilian Council where one of the activists they demand that they get consideration. They said a lack of people participation for the public referendum of the constitutional amendment for Egypt will cause problem for President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi for future. This is now according by experts on Saturday, Monday, now the last day of voting in 3-day public referendum on constitutional changes where they say if it work. It could give el-Sisi more time for office and instead the power over certain judicial authority there. If the amendment succeed, it will also give presidential power and military presence for communities there. The presidential term will come expand from 4 to 6 years, and el-Sisi will feel run for a third term for 2024. Edmond Garib, a professor of Middle Eastern Affairs for American University for Washington, D.C., believes the el-Sisi suppose they concern about the percentage of people when they say they come outside, come vote, apart from whether or not the amendment will pass.
How we are going to look at this, voting is the percentage of people who are going to participate in it. President Sisi won the last time by 91%, but the percentage of people who voted was 47%. So it's going to be very significant now to see whether or not people are boycotting or whether they are participating. This is the most controversial of all of these new amendments because especially people who participated in the uprisings against President Mubarak, they think that this amendment is leading the country towards more authoritarianism and sort of a return to the era of Mubarak, because basically what it's saying is that, first of all, they extended the period of the presidency, the term, from 4 years to 6 years, and then it's going to be for two terms. So his current term will end in 24, and then if he runs for another term, he could stay there for a whole decade. People are saying the Constitution is not the Quran. So basically, it's not the word of God. But people are concerned because there was an agreement that any president, future president, after 2011 uprisings, would serve for 2 terms, 4 years each. So now this is a change. Yeah. This is going to add. So there's a lot of concern on that.
The news will continue after this chicken break. Make on no go anywhere. 7 suicide bombers now they get hand for the attack on top churches and fine hotel for Sri Lanka when we say kill 209 people and wounded that guy 500 according to the government talk person on Monday. Nobody don't claim saying that they do this badness when it happen during the church service or when hotel guests they sit down to shop for money. Security force don't they conduct a raid and they don't they arrest suspect them according by the cabinet talk person Rajita Sena Ratne on Monday, and it's not possible to say any local organization will carry out this badness without help from an international group. President Maithripala Sirisena don't declare one nationwide emergency when we start from midnight on Monday. This one go allow police and the military get power to detain and interrogate without court orders.
But it is not all that, because we have got information about everything. There are some more. Already about so many arrests are being done. So we hope the majority, the security forces say that they are suicide bombers. So with that, we are doing all the raids, and one by one we are catching, and all the places, they are actually the training places have been identified and we have raided already. So we have taken all the actions by now. 300 people have died. Over 500 people have been injured, severely injured. Some are disabled. So we are very, very sorry as a government, we have to say, and we have to apologize to the families and the other institutions about this incident.
Abdi Road, they go to St. Sebastian Catholic Church on Monday as a follow for one of the locations where received blow by a series of blasts for Sri Lanka when it killed 290 people and wounded more than 500. The bombing entire churches and hotel them for Easter Sunday, with most of the attack for around the Colombo. St. Sebastian Church for Negombo, they located for north of the capital. Nobody don't claim saying that they do this badness when happen during the church service or when hotel guests they sit down. They chop for morning. Officials say that 32 foreigners now the bomb killed, including British, US, Turkish, Indian, Chinese, Danish, Dutch, Portuguese, and Japanese citizens. According to the CBC, now that kind of 1,000 house for some part of Quebec, Canada, now water don't enter for Sunday, April 21st. They carry Canadian armed force, then go the local area then. Now like 200 army people don't show face for lava as a city, they face water palava along the rivers and the channels then. Forecasters, they torchlight the matter for the rest of the April inside Quebec, when we say they take people, when we say that they stay the area, say they get hope, say the water go soon come out. The next one where we get a business news. The Organization of Petroleum Exporting Country talk say the refinery when Dangote Group they build go make importation of oil reduce for West Africa. OPEC for their new edition of the World Oil Outlook talk say the refinery could refine like 650,000 barrels of crude oil per day. One statement from Dangote Group quote OPEC say last year World Oil Matter talk say for Africa new project will improve the palava toward the end of the period. This year they get might say the Dangote project for Niger will go front from still change the picture. And Oga Devakuma Edwin Wemby say be the Group Executive Director, Strategy, Portfolio Development and Capital Projects Dangote Industries Limited talk say OPEC they correct for waiting they talk on top the estimation and constantly say their hand they grant to deliver the refinery on time. According to Ram Dangote Group Refinery and the Petrochemical Project, we meet 100% of the domestic demand for petroleum products, petrol, diesel, kerosene and aviation fuel. Then could come leave the surplus for export when we say they line with OPEC matter. He constantly say the high volume of the petrol aside from the Dangote refinery could change Niger from people when we say that they import petrol from other countries. Still on top Plus TV Africa news, this one a roundup on top entertainment and sports with the show back. Easter, when some people they call Pacha or Resurrection Sunday, a festival and holiday when they say that they remember the resurrection of Jesus from the dead. According by the New Testament, it happened on the 3rd day after the burial for Calvary. For this season, Plus TV Africa, go straight, go follow some kind of Nigeria people yarn on top what Easter mean to them.
Well, we're celebrating the rebirth of our Lord Jesus Christ. And again, we have to remember the reason for the season. They say public holiday Friday and Monday, but many people don't remember the reason for the season. Remember the season and remember the reason, so that we should all be good. Remember the death of our Lord Jesus Christ. He died for you and I, and forever we are saved. Just believe and have your faith in God, for He's there to treat you well.
Easter is about sacrifice, love, family, you know. Well, just a little bit of it. I'll be spending it at, you know, family, friends, you know, just chilling, hanging, having food after food.
Easter for me is a time to reflect as well and be grateful to God for His gift. Because it says in John 3:16, for God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son. And that's this giving, you know, this period. So you need to reflect on that and be cautious of the things you do to negate His gift to you. You know, you need to be very, very grateful for that life that He gave to you.
Easter on its own is the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ, okay? So that means to me that no matter how dead a situation can be, you know, life can come out of it. And dry bones will rise again, you know, and I totally believe in that. That's my principle in life, that, you know, no matter what's going on in your life, no matter how bad things seem to be, that things can always change. Things can always get better. I'm just gonna hang out with my kids, my wife. You know, we're gonna go out, have fun. The holiday. I'm telling you, we'll probably lock ourselves up in the house and play, or because it. And turn off your phone. Yeah, because look at it now. If we try and go out, Easter time, you know, there's too much crowd.
Yeah, Easter is a time to show love, because it was out of love that Christ, you know, died on the cross for us. And how will I be celebrating Easter? I don't know. I think I'll just be going out with friends, you know, just have fun, basically. Tonight. Yes, like I'm here tonight, Alibaba here. I'll just be having fun with friends, go out.
Easter, to me, we don't really celebrate Easter in my family, so I don't really have much to say about Easter. Because Jesus Christ is involved, I'll celebrate Him.
That now what we get for entertainment. Now make we enter sports proper with the show back. All right, so there's a Manchester City forward Raheem Sterling saying I go pay all the money when they said they go to bury Damari Dawkins, one Crystal Palace youth player, when he died for March. And he aged now 13 because of one of Bunga's sickness when they say that they call acute lymphoblastic leukemia. Sterling does support one campaign when they say they take the look for better stem cell donor for Damari when he received few days before Christmas, but he can't die for February. As they groove his second goal against the Czech Republic last month, Sterling come out his shirt to the picture of the Damari and himself. The England international go see Damari when they hospital, and he still they call him well. He plan to show face for the burial when it go happen on Friday. He talk say Damari na better pikin when he life touch plenty people and himself. The Boxing Board of Control don't give British heavyweight boxer Cash Ali 6-month ban and fine of £10,000 because he bite David Price during their heavyweight fight for March. They disqualify Ali for the 5th round of the bout because of say he bite Price when they fight. Cash be don't bite Price for the 2nd and 3rd round of the fight. People can't they tell Ali say he not try at all, and he can't say they beg Price family, team and boxing community made no verse. A trainer Adam Etchis don't put mouth for the matter, say not be so Ali be. He say Ali na good guy when something be enter ahead and make you face the palaver when he did ground. So Adam Etchis talk say Ali go learn from this experience when he come back to the ring to win. All right, so now what do we get for now top this story be that. Thank you when this one to join us on top this very o'clock. For more information when we say they casual, go follow us for Plus TV Africa on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. and make sure you see subscribe for our YouTube page at Plus TV Africa. We go see some on our plenty 3 later as it hot. My name na Promise Nero. Make una get better day. Una well done.
Politics has helped shape the decision of the polity, from conspiracy theories to good old-fashioned comic politics.
These are the result of tomorrow's election. Okay, you have it already, have you?
I think we've done very well in the very difficult circumstances in which we took over governance.
Plus, politics will fill the polls of the country, from friends to frenemies, even strange bedfellows, to clones and stooges. We go beyond the rhetorics and the drama to analyze the story behind the story.
Let anybody come and say.
The perception in itself does more harm than actual corruption that you have.
Plus Politics, not just another political show. It's about putting you, the citizens, in the know.
Hey, what's up, guys? You're welcome to another edition of Plus Event, and I remain your host, Ifeoluwa Oshukeye.
Your absence isn't an excuse anymore, as Plus Events is all you need, as we bring you the glitz, the glamour, and loads of fun.
Oh, definitely, by no question. He's a living legend.
Oh, God forbid, Holy Ghost fire, I know.
I just want to be blown away. I want to be wild. This is 11 years of doing it.
I'm surrounded by so much positivity.
No, it's okay.
Yo, what's up, my people? It's your boy Starboy Terry. You're watching
Plus Event
on Plus TV. Stay glued to Plus TV Africa every Saturday and Sunday, 4:30 p.m. West African time.
You're watching Plus TV Africa, and this is Tea Time. I loved the energy when I came in here. It was so positive. I was like, I can't live here.
My real names are Akbobio Fobo, Akborobo Memere.
I think my father is a comedian because most times when he calls me, he's like, yo, make sure you use condom, you know, them girls out there.
So are you telling me I should have shot my shots?
Ife, you are my younger brother. Age is nothing but a number. What? I'm a vampire.
I believe in equal rights for women, and I also believe that a man is the head of the house, so we need to draw our limits somewhere.
It feels so good. Now can I do my jam now?
Yeah, you can.
Thank you.
That is how we get looped into a cycle of insanity, repeating the same thing and expecting a different result. That cycle of failure is unsustainable, and it has to end now.
Infection train is back.
They take us to the bush and start asking us to call our people to send money.
What can be done as an intervention for them right now to stop abuse of all children?
You're watching Africa on the Move in partnership with DW. I am Fumi Onwajefe. Today, we'll be focusing on activism across the continent. Not satisfied with certain issues and, of course, with ineffective leaders who aren't dealing with the crisis on the continent, a lot of people are coming together to find their own solutions and raise awareness. We start in Rwanda, where Freddie and Kayla have set up media for the deaf. Let's find out what that's about.
Freddie Rangira and Kalia Uwedegije have been campaigning for media inclusion of the deaf since 2014. According to the latest census, there are more than 30,000 people with hearing disorders in Rwanda. Yet few in the broader public are aware of the challenges that come with deafness.
The deaf community is among us the marginalized into even the disability movement. They are the one who are more marginalized than others.
The idea to launch Media for the Deaf came from a research project on how the media serves disabled people. The findings were alarming. With only one youth program available in sign language, deaf people in Rwanda have extremely limited access to information.
After the recommendation I got, I said, what is my contribution or my solution to that problem that they are facing as someone who studied journalism and communication?
Today, the media team is preparing for the next video shoot for their #SignYourName campaign. Diane Gashumba, the Minister of Gender and Family Promotion, has agreed to participate. The two activists were inspired by the success of the recent Ice Bucket Challenge on social media.
I thought it would be easy, but it was difficult. But I was supported and it was good. It was a good experience.
The minister also promised further support for the team and their initiative down the track. 48 celebrities have already taken part, among them local artists, athletes and actors.
nshobora kuganira mu rurimi rw'amarenga. Ese kuki wowe utagerageza? Murakoze.
The group recently won a Young Rwandan Achievers Award for their efforts. Freddie is proud that all their work and commitment has been recognized.
And this is Keria in between receiving the award. On the left, it's the First Lady of Rwanda, Madame Jeannette Kagame, and Honorable Minister of Youth and ICT. This came at the right moment because it gave us the spirit of going on doing more of the advocacy work we are doing.
Media for the Deaf also plans to offer sign language workshops for journalists, as well as media training for deaf people. A difficult task because the young organisation is still struggling financially. So far, the 9 board members have had to pay all expenses out of their own pockets. But their success proves that good ideas don't need much to grow.
We challenge you.
Half of the African population lives in poverty. These people do not have access to basic human needs such as nutrition, clean water, shelter, and more. 47% of the African population is living on $1.90 or less, and 2 in 5 Africans are illiterate. Now let's bring that to perspective. In Kenya, poverty is the leading cause of teenage mothers, particularly from the ages of 14 to 16. Now, one young woman has started an interreligious school to encourage young girls who think that their education and in turn their lives are over because they became pregnant.
Every week, Mariam Masih visits this public school in Malindi. She doesn't want the school to be named. This is part of her program's strategy to protect the girls, Mariam says. The Kenyan Coast Interfaith Council of Clerics reintegrates teenage mothers into school. The teachers try to support these young girls aged between 14 and 16. They come from different religions, mainly Catholic and Muslim. This interreligious approach is of great importance to the different leaders in the Interfaith Council.
These interfaith clerics also, they have a common meeting where they all discuss, they sit down to discuss the issues of children, because when problems comes, they will not face a particular religion. They face each and every child from whichever religion that is.
Poverty is the main problem in this region. Young girls get lured by men offering to buy them simple items like sanitary towels. They get abused and become pregnant.
The parents would ask, if she goes back to school, who will take care of their children? And we were able to talk to these parents and show sense to them that these are still children and they need to be given an opportunity.
This argument finally convinced Pili Ramadhan to also let her daughter participate in the project. Her daughter is with the green scarf and didn't want to be filmed or named. We shall call her Shumi. Shumi is only 16, but already has a 1.5-year-old child. I was pregnant when I was still in school, and after I gave birth, I decided to go back to school and learn, because life will be difficult. For her mother, Pili Ramadhan, having another child to feed was a shock. She's unemployed and still doesn't know how to make ends meet. The 55-year-old widow also supports the 2 children of her son. When I learned about the pregnancy of my daughter, I was so sad and bitter that I was beating her all the time. My neighbors told me that beating is not the solution, and it's not the end of learning. Mariam Masih visits one of the girls who has landed on her feet despite her early pregnancy. Sylvia Jumwa has a small tailoring shop. Her first child died when she was 16. For Mariam, she's a great example for the other girls.
We are trying to build that social cohesion where people can coexist together peacefully, despite the fact that they come from different backgrounds, different ethnic groups and different religions.
Jumwa took up a microcredit, which she is now able to pay back. She even employs 2 young seamstresses. For Missy, teaching the young women to provide for themselves may be the answer to their problems, and they no longer have to accept the dubious offers of the men.
From pregnant school children to street children, Isaac Peter is trying in his own little way to take children off the streets.
Victor Brown's stage name is T1. He's a breakdancer in Monrovia's Paynesville neighborhood. Thanks to the help of Isaac Peters, T1 is now about to go to school. I was always trying to find a way to go to school, and luckily I met him. He told me he could help me start school, and he encouraged me with my dancing. He said I should dance at school to motivate my friends outside who are not educated to attend school. Isaac Peters set up this high school after Liberia's civil war to educate street children, but he's been struggling to keep the school up and running. Financial problems mean it's hard to maintain the buildings. There are about 20 teachers for nearly 2,000 children, but only half of the pupils pay fees. Others, like Victor, rely on Isaac's scholarship program, co-financed by the other children. Isaac Peters spent part of his own childhood on the streets.
Living the streets as a child at a time enabled me to secure a good future. And securing a good future is one thing, but it's also helped me to impact the lives of other people. And the street life also gave me an idea on how it looked like to be out there sleeping on the market tables.
After classes, Isaac often heads to the local cemetery where his runaway son Cyrus hangs out.
I feel that I'm obligated to him to transform his life from the grave to someone who will make a difference in life.
Cyrus used to live with Isaac, but then he started stealing and turned violent.
The passion that I have to help many of our children, especially war-affected children and children from the ghetto, I go into the graveyard and take these children from there.
Isaac couldn't find Cyrus today, so he talks to the other boys.
If you want to become a mechanic, we can strike the deal. If you want to become a carpenter, we can strike the deal. If you want to become a plumber, we can strike the deal. Let's meet.
At night, Monrovia is a vibrant city. It's the first time in a long time that Isaac Peters has been able to check out some of the city's clubs. Victor Brown, aka T1, is performing tonight at a dance club where many of Monrovia's street kids go to blow off steam. Some also come here to convince other people to join Isaac Peters High School. But for now, Isaac insists T1 should just concentrate on entertaining his fans.
Our next activist is a journalist who is fighting for albinos in Tanzania. Let's watch Henry Adimu's story.
It's breakfast time at Henry Mdimu's house in Dar es Salaam. Albinism, the absence of melanin in his skin, is not an issue here at home. But that's not the case elsewhere in Tanzania, where people with albinism are frequently maimed and even killed. Henry Mdimu is a journalist who helps shed light on such crimes. He likes to engage with people, even if his life isn't always easy.
You won't get anywhere if you complicate everything in your life. You have to accept things.
Accept things.
Accept the way you are, and then move on.
Move on.
Many people in East Africa believe that albinos are ghosts. To change that attitude, Henry Mdimu regularly talks to people without albinism. He then publishes the interviews in his newspaper and on his blog.
If you see a person like me, an albino, walking down the street, what comes to mind?
Some people see albinos as a way of making money. But to me, you are like any other human being.
For over a decade, Under the Same Sun has been fighting for the rights of albinos in Tanzania. The NGO helps those who have been brutally attacked by people who believe albino body parts can bring wealth and good luck. On the black market, a limb of a person with albinism can fetch $5,000, an entire body hundreds of thousands. Mariam Stamford is one such victim. Sometimes I have nightmares about people cutting off my hands. But I thank God that these kinds of nightmares happen so rarely now. Her assailants have never been prosecuted. Crimes against people with albinism are often not fully investigated. That's why Henry Mdimu is working to increase awareness, one person at a time.
I'm trying to convince people to change their minds and be heroes in their societies.
Change their mindset, being the heroes in society.
Henry Mdimu's work is far from over. But one day he hopes to live in a Tanzania where people with albinism can live their lives like any other human being.
Corruption, corruption, corruption. It's not just a buzzword in Africa, it's the reality we live in, and it affects all spheres of our lives. Jonathan Idoma in Liberia is speaking against corruption in the education sector.
Eight o'clock in the morning in Liberia's capital, Monrovia. Jonathan Doma is a guest on the live show Radio Maria. He reports about the latest incidents of corruption in the education system. The 28-year-old works for the Center for Transparency and Accountability in Liberia. Today he speaks about corruption in schools, about teachers putting money intended for books into their own pockets. The radio show is an important platform for the activist.
It is important because the public depends on us a lot. There's a lot that is expected of our work by the public, so we always try our best to share the result of our works, our findings, our research, the findings of our research to the public.
Tell us about some of those things that you are currently working on.
There's a lot of interest in the show. Every day, more and more people talk about corruption in government institutions and in politics. Despite some initial progress, Liberia recently fell in the world's Corruption Perception Index.
We are the common people who will benefit from the resources that this country has. For all the resources that the country has, we cannot see it because of the corruption.
Corruption is a very, very serious problem in our country. Very serious to the extent that
every part of Liberia is being affected by corruption, the public sector and the private sector.
Jonathan Doma and his colleagues at Sental would be fighting a losing battle were it not for their dedicated volunteers. Their problem, when they cover a case of corruption, it doesn't mean that the offender will be punished. The activists aren't giving up, though. In fact, they're starting to see results. Here at the University of Liberia, students are staging a protest against rising tuition rates. They're upset about a lack of transparency. Jonathan will meet with the University Council to clarify some important points.
What will be done with the money that is expected to come from the students? What improvements we expect to see? For example, the institution lacks a functional library. They don't have computer labs. They are talking about internet on campuses. None of them are actually happening here right now.
After a week-long standoff success, the president of the country rules for the status quo to be maintained. There will be no raise of tuition fees for now. More importantly, though, it's a good sign for Liberia, says Jonathan Doma, that more and more young people are stepping up to ask difficult questions.
Radio is intimate, it's direct, it's human, and that's why our next activist is using the medium to push his cause.
These are now victims of a terror drill. Remember, the word terror comes before the drill. So in the drill, all the way to the government, how is Uhuru reacting where he is? In his country, one person, broadcaster. Mbona umengoja that long?
Sina kwa memse kuna mtu alichoka maji.
Ama popa likamna.
Unaekelewa ati unaekelewa kila.
We finally identified the programming that relates to the youth and fully represent. And I remember the theme that I had in that change is that now I'm going now to create a radio that is a friend. A different radio that is not Mr. Know-it-all, whereby the hosts are assumed knowledgeable and knows. I want to create a radio that can also learn from people.
Conversation iendelee, tuchanuane tukiwa mayouth.
Na Ghetto Radio 89.5.
Unajua huko hata nishapata mrembo. Nataka kupanda mbegu huko Kataka. Haru Ghetto Radio. Pirokti na kukua na sikupoa.
Nikakuja paka hapa. Ule nilikujanga hapa. Nikakuja nikafanyiwa interview. Kufanyiwa interview sasa. Siku ingia mara hiyo siku kuwa presenter hiyo siku. Nikaenda nikamaliza wiki kama moja kwa street. Sonko wetu maji akanitumania.
Na wanyosh. Vipi? Yani sawa. Base. Poa. Kanyumba karia twakoma no uyu na ni okite ngamuhe kiraro ka ngui. Aria twenda kunyitirwo nawe.
Ghetto Radio tu nilikuwa tu naisikianga hivyo, saa zingine nilikuwa tu nafungulia Ghetto Radio nasikia marege nikiwa mtaani. Unajua masafara wengi wanapenda Ghetto Radio juu wakati uko pale mtaani ukiweka Ghetto Radio unasikia poa, ukisikia rege hata kama huna kaki.
Paka hivyo. Kama kazi inakuwa kabisa. Kwa keti jo.
The experiences you could talk of are unheard of, unwritten stories are unheard of. The real experience. Yes, you know somebody is a street boy, so probably most people know the worst you know is Gulu na kulala nje. The beat everyone will know generally. But now when you start to talk, you'll find a lot of issues going on there. But those issues were unbroadcasted.
So what will you be fighting and pushing for this week in your own sphere? And to quote the words of Margaret Mead, never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has. That's all on Africa on the Move this week. See you again really soon. Bye.
Mr. Bello speaking. Who is this?
Hello, Mr. Bello. My name is Gloria, and I'm calling regarding the family savings scheme form you dropped off last week. Do you remember?
Yes. I remember now.
The form is missing your signature. Do you mind stopping by sometime this week?
Don't know if I go do water.
Not a problem. We will come to you.
We go walk with you, oh. No matter where you stay, we get you from mine. We go follow penny price. Say we get you from mine.
Everyone is on a journey to build a brighter future. Let's help you take tomorrow, today. Access Bank. Speed, service, security.
Goal 10 of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals speaks largely about eliminating inequality amongst countries and peoples. The United Nations clearly recognizes that businesses can also exacerbate inequality by being complicit in perpetrating biases and discrimination. The question, however, is, how exactly does this resonate with Nigeria? Lagos is the most populous city in Nigeria and has millions of persons. Among these are little persons also, often found in Osborn in Ikoyi. They are trying to make a living as they grapple with inequality and discrimination because of their physical appearances. Wisdom Abba and his wife Joanne are one of the little persons who moved from other parts of the country into Lagos to make a living by getting employed despite their physical inadequacies. They say that in Lagos, they had hoped to win the battle against discrimination, but this fight, however, seems to be a lost one as they are constantly marginalized by some employers while hunting for jobs.
Sometimes, somebody will promise me at where I'm selling market, just with drive car, we say we find work for me. I will pull up other person. At last, the person will not find a job because promise me, many of them.
When I want to look for a job, they said they can't give me a job, that I'm too short, that I should go.
This couple is not the only little person seeking an end to discrimination in job hunting. Nkubi and Shapali are celebrity broadcasters. They too say that they have had a painful taste of societal rejection.
I got called up for an interview. One of the management now walked up to me and told me that, look, I am sincerely very sorry. You are not the kind of person we are looking for.
My sister, growing up, she'll be like, Daddy, where do you get this thing from?
Though Shapali comes across as a very confident woman, she says growing up was torturous.
I'm talking to you, I don't know my mom until now. She ran away because I am a dog.
She adds that her self-esteem was dealt a devastating blow for even thinking of marrying a tall man and begetting tall offspring, as her mother-in-law rejected her.
I had a relationship that the guy, took me home to the mom. And I was there in their living room, seated, and the guy went to call the mom. The mom came and I was like, where? Sorry, oh my dear, sorry. Where is the wife? My son said he brought. And I was like, it's me. And stop joking now. How will it be you? My son came up to come that he brought somebody. You know, I was not accepted.
Bash and Iyatokpe are 9 to 5 persons. They reveal that they have also been treated with inequality countless times.
My own junior brother, the one that follows me, he also thought I'm kind of like a junior to him. We usually fight every day.
I go one place. I say then they find person will go sweep here. They say not true. I say I won't do it. You do it. Which hand do you want to take sweep here?
With only 12 years left to expunge inequality by 2030, only little is known if Nigeria will truly wipe out this menace. But Wisdom and his wife Joanne, Nkubi, Shapali, Bash and Iyatokpe continue to hope that someday they will be treated like every other human being. I am Mary Chinda for Plus TV Africa.
Hey, what's up guys? You're welcome to another edition of Plus Event, and I remain your host, Ifeoluwa Oshukeye.
Your absence isn't an excuse anymore, as Plus Events is all you need, as we bring you the glitz, the glamour, and loads of fun.
Oh, definitely, by no question. He's a living legend.
Oh, God forbid, Holy Ghost fire, no.
I just want to be blown away. I want to be wild. This is 11 years of doing it.
I'm surrounded by so much positivity.
No, it's okay.
Yo, what's up, my people? It's your boy Starboy Terry. You're watching
Plus Event on Plus TV.
Stay glued to Plus TV Africa every Saturday and Sunday, 4:30 p.m. West African time.
Politics has helped shape the decision of the polity, from conspiracy theories to good old-fashioned comic politics.
These are the result of tomorrow's election. Okay, you have it already, have you?
I think we've done very well in the very difficult circumstances in which we took over governance.
Plus, politics will fill the polls of the country, from friends to frenemies, even strange bedfellows, to clones and stooges. We go beyond the rhetorics and the drama to analyze the story behind the story.
Let everybody come and say!
The perception in itself does more harm than actual corruption that you have.
Plus Politics, not just another political show. It's about putting you, the citizens, in the know.
Good evening and many thanks for joining us for News on the Hour on Plus TV Africa. I'm David Alabi, and here are the stories making the headlines. Now we begin with news across Nigeria. Party politics first. The All Progressives Congress national leader Bola Tinubu says his focus is to assist President Muhammadu Buhari develop, refine and implement a progressive agenda to flourish the economy of the country and make Nigerians prosper. Tinubu said this in a statement titled, "Tinubu focusing on the issues of today. Tomorrow is the master of itself," released by his media officer Tunde Rahman in Lagos. The national leader was reacting to media reports claiming that he was manipulating the APC nomination process for the National Assembly leadership to position himself for a presidential run during the 2023 election cycle. Tinubu said that as a loyal party member and progressive leader, he would have committed a terrible wrong by navigating against the president and the party's position regarding the National Assembly leadership. Tinubu lamented that a painful lesson was learned in the last 4 years regarding the leadership of the National Assembly. And the President of the Senate, Bukola Saraki, on Monday said that the national leader of the ruling All Progressives Congress, Ahmed Tinubu's description of the National Assembly under his leadership as corrupt and antagonistic is to the presidency as untrue fallacies and misrepresentations. Yusuf Olaniyonu, the special advisor, media and publicity to the President of the Senate, said this in a statement that, quote, that statement was another effort to sell a concocted narrative about the 8th National Assembly and its leadership. Tinubu, in a statement on Sunday, had accused Saraki and Yakubu Dogara, Speaker of the House of Assembly, of deliberately delaying the passage of budgets and distorted the annual spending plan with the aim of profiting off the distortions. And now the People's Democratic Party's candidate in the February 23rd presidential election, Atiku Abubakar, has denied the All Progressives Congress's allegation that it is not eligible to contest because it wasn't born in Nigeria. Atiku stated this in a response to the APC's reply to the petition he and his party jointly filed before the Presidential Election Petitions Tribunal. He said he was born on November 25, 1946 in Jada, Adamawa State, therefore he is a Nigerian. The APC had alleged in its response that as of November 25, 1946, when Nigeria was born, Jada was part of northern Cameroon. But Atiku insisted that he is a Nigerian citizen, arguing that his parents were also Nigerians by birth. And away from that report, the Federal Ministry of Power Works in Housing on Sunday said that the third mainland bridge in Lagos was safe for use, contrary to a social media report post spreading fears about the bridge. The ministry, in a statement, attached a video of ongoing underwater confirmatory tests on the bridge's piles. The statement, signed by Hakeem Bello, the Special Advisor, Communications to the Minister of Power Works and Housing, argued that the expansion joints being speculated to be dangerous was among those slated for repairs. Quote, the general public is hereby informed that the expansion joint shown in a Facebook video clip is one of those slated for change during repairs on the third mainland bridge, which will commence soon. It is still functioning, and our engineers and consultants have advised that it does not pose any structural danger to the bridge and it is safe for use. The statement advised people to desist from spreading or sharing false information about the bridge on social media platforms. Now, the third mainland bridge is the longest of 3 bridges connecting Lagos Island to the mainland. The others are the Eko and Carter Bridge. Still on the news across Nigeria, the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party in the February 2019 election, Atiku Abubakar, on Monday urged the federal and Kaduna state governments to apprehend and punish the killers of a British aid worker, Faye Money, and her Nigerian partner, Matthew Oguche, who were killed in Kaduna State. In a statement, he said it is imperative to keep Nigeria safe for Nigerians and foreigners as well. He stated that the death of any Nigerian or foreigner from terror, crime or insecurity is sad. According to him, nobody's life is worth taking to advance a religious, political or criminal cause. The former vice president condemned the killing and however emphasized that Nigeria must once again become synonymous with peace, progress and prosperity. We now cross over to Benue State, where the state government on Monday today imposed a 24-hour curfew on Katsina Ala town in Katsina Ala local government area of the state. This is contained in a statement signed by the Chief Press Secretary to the acting governor, Ede Ogaba, and made available to the news agency of Nigeria in Makurdi. Ogaba said the curfew, which is with immediate effect, would be reviewed as the situation demands. Quote, the Benue State government has imposed a 24-hour curfew on Katsina Ala with effect from today, Monday, April 22, as part of efforts to restore peace and ensure the security of lives and property in that part of the state, he said. He also was quoted by the acting governor, Benson Abonu, as urging the people of the area to cooperate with security operatives by obeying the curfew. Quote, government warns that anyone found fomenting trouble in the area or in other parts of the state will be apprehended and punished according to law. Government reassures the people that more security personnel have been deployed to Katsina Ala to end the crisis, and it will continue to give security agencies every needed support to succeed. End of quote. Still talking security-related matters now. In continuation of clearance operations against bandits in Zamfara State and Everett, troops have encountered and engaged armed bandits in some villages, resulting in the death of 6 persons. Some of them gunshot injuries on many of them, while 18 informants, including 2 village heads, were also arrested in the situation. Now, a statement by Colonel Sigiru Musa, Acting Director, Army Public Relations, said, quote, "The troops on operation have been Kunama 3 based on credible intelligence about bandits' movement in Kirsa and Sunke in Anka local government area of Zamfara State, have on the 20th of April 2019 continued with the clearance operations into the hinterland to clear the brigands. Now, consequently, the troops made contact and engaged the bandits in a fierce shootout at the bushes of Kirsa and Sunka villages, which resulted in the extermination of 6 criminals, the recovery of 2 AK-47 rifles and motorcycles. Now, no fewer than 11 persons, have also including police and an NSCDC officer, were confirmed dead after a car rammed into a procession of Christian youth, mostly Boys Brigade members, who were on an Easter rally Sunday night in Gombe town. According to reports, the youth were on the usual Easter rally in celebration of the resurrection of Jesus Christ when the unidentified NSCDC and his policeman friend came across them at Al-Hiri Junction, Bui Road, Gombe. Chairman of the Gombe State Battalion Brigade of the Boys Brigade, Isaac Kwadang, told reporters that he received information about the accident around 11:30 p.m. on Sunday night. And according to him, the civil defense officer, though not on official duty, met the procession while passing, and after exchanging words with the youths, he moved past them and switched off his car's headlights and ran into them from behind, killing 8 on the spot. He stated further that the youth chased the security officers, caught them and mobbed them to death. The chief medical director of the Gombe State Specialist Hospital, Dr. Shuaibu Mwazu, confirmed that some corpses from the incident were deposited in the hospital. The sector commander of the FRSC, Godwin Omuko, confirmed the incident to newsmen on phone and said his men were also among those that brought the dead bodies to the hospital. In other reports now, at the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Foreign Affairs and Diaspora, Abike Dabiri Erewa, has described the death sentence passed on 8 Nigerians in the United Arab Emirates as unfortunate. 8 Nigerians were sentenced to death on Wednesday in Sharjah for a string of robberies at money exchanges and cash machines across the Emirate in December 2016. Now, the presidential aide, who expressed concern over the development, however, said that the incident was not an actual description of personalities of people in Nigeria. A total of 20 suspects were initially held for attacking security guards in 4 violent attacks at ATMs and money exchanges across Sharjah in late 2016. 9 of the suspects were convicted, 8 were sentenced to death, while the 9th person was sentenced to 6 months imprisonment. Some of the accused confessed to their crimes, while others denied the charges leveled against them. Now, the verdict was also handed down by Judge Majid Al-Muhariri of Sharjah Criminal Court on Wednesday. We spoke with Sam Adeleke, a consultant on this matter, and he had this to say.
I do think that Nigerians are not so valuable to the Nigerian government. The value of human life, even within Nigeria, is not as valuable as the life of the elites. So when an ordinary Nigerian goes outside of the country to commit crimes, the government even chastises you. The other day, Abike Dabiri, the presidential advisor on diaspora, was chastising the Nigerians who were to be beheaded in Saudi Arabia that don't go embarrassing our country. It is your fault. Whatever wrong that you do, it is that you are going to face the music. In diplomacy, it's about negotiations. It's about standing up for your people. It's about showing that you value the lives of your people outside the country. It's about perception. It's about imaging. You can't just ordinarily dismiss or leave your people to the winds just because you are trying to prove a point of morality. You know, do you understand? Because every country commits crimes globally, regardless, either overtly or covertly. So when these situations happen, the Nigerian government should at least make a statement. Put a front, Tell them that, see, Nigerians are the highest provider of tourists to Dubai in Africa or the UAE. Show some numbers, give some figures. Emirates leave Nigeria every day with at least 2 full Boeing 737 of Nigerians. We have about 3,000 Nigerians visiting that country every day. We contribute so much to the GDP. So when things like this happen, there should be a concession. And, of course, people should face the music, but the Nigerian government should take a stand economically to show that they really know the worth of their people.
And that reaction from Sam Adeleke wraps up our news across Nigeria. After the short break, we'll bring you the reports from the rest of Africa. Just stay with us. Glad to have you back. Now, if you're just joining us, you're watching news on the hour on Plus TV Africa, and here's our African news package. And we begin with Sudan, where the Transitional Military Council Abdel Fattah al-Burhan met with the head of the African Union, Moussa Faki, on Sunday. Our citizens' protest days after President Omar al-Bashir was forced from power. The protesters have kept up the sitting outside the Ministry of Defense building since Bashir was removed by the military on the 11th of this month, and have demonstrated in large numbers in recent days, pressing for a rapid handover to civilian rule. On Sunday, Faki said the African Union was ready to support Sudan through the transition phase, which would allow for a civil government to come to power. Separately, local media reported that the African Union had called on Sudan's military to transfer power to a transitional civilian-led political authority within 15 days of phase suspension from the AU. Meanwhile, Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates on Sunday said that they had agreed to send Sudan $3 billion worth of aid, throwing a lifeline to the country's new military leaders after protests led to the ousting of President Omar al-Bashir. The two Gulf Arab countries will deposit $500 million with the Sudanese Central Bank and send the rest in the form of food, medicine and petroleum products. And that's according to the state news agency in a parallel statement. The aid comes amid wrangling between the Transitional Military Council (TMC) as well as protesters and opposition groups who are demanding that civilians lead a 2-year transitional period. The protesters have kept up a sit-in outside the Defense Ministry since Bashir was removed on the 11th of this month, and they have demonstrated in large numbers over the past 3 days, pressing for a rapid handover to civilian rule. TMC head Abdel Fattah al-Burhan told state television that the formation of a joint military-civilian council, one of the activists' demands, was being considered. Low turnout for the public referendum on constitutional amendments in Egypt may pose a problem for President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi going forward, said an expert on Saturday. Monday is the last day of voting in the 3-day public referendum on constitutional change that, if passed, would give al-Sisi much more time in office and extend its powers over certain judicial authorities. The presidential term would be expanded from 4 to 6 years, and al-Sisi would be allowed to run for his third term come 2024. Edmund Garib, a professor of Middle Eastern Affairs at the American University in Washington, D.C., believes that al-Sisi should be concerned about the percentage of people who turn out to vote, not just whether or not the amendment is passed.
How we are going to look at this, voting is the percentage of people who are going to participate in it. President Sisi won the last time by 91%, but the percentage of people who voted was 47%. So it's going to be very significant now to see whether or not people are boycotting or whether they are participating. This is the most controversial of all of these new amendments because especially people who participated in the uprisings against President Mubarak, they think that this amendment is leading the country towards more authoritarianism and sort of a return to the era of Mubarak, because basically what it's saying is that, first of all, they extended the period of the presidency, the term, from 4 years to 6 years, and then it's going to be for two terms. So his current term will end in 24, and then if he runs for another term, he could stay there for a whole decade. People are saying the Constitution is not the Quran. land. So basically, it's not the word of God. But people are concerned because there was an agreement that any president, future president, after 2011 uprisings, would serve for 2 terms, 4 years each. So now this is a change. Yeah. This is going to add. So there's a lot of concern on that.
And reports from the foreign scene is coming up next. Don't go anywhere. And bring you reports from the international front. We have reports that 7 suicide bombers took part in the attacks on churches and luxury hotels in Sri Lanka that killed 290 people and wounded more than 500. A government spokesperson said on Monday there was no claim of responsibility for the Easter Sunday attacks, which mainly took place during church services or when hotel guests were sitting down for breakfast buffets. Now, the security forces have been conducting raids and making arrests, and that's according to the cabinet spokesperson Rajitha Sarantne. Now, she said on Monday, adding that no local organization could have succeeded without the help of an international group. President Maithripala Sirisena has declared a nationwide emergency that will go into effect at midnight on Monday. This measure will grant police and the military extensive powers to detain and interrogate without court orders what was in force at various times during the civil war with Tamil separatists.
But it is not all that, because we have got information about everything. There are some more already about so many arrests are being done. So we hope the majority, the security forces say that they are suicide bombers. So with that, we are doing all the raids, and one by one we are catching, and all their the places, they are actually the training places have been identified and we have raided already. So we have taken all the actions by now. 300 people have died. Over 500 people have been injured, severely injured. Some are disabled. So we are very, very sorry as a government, we have to say, and we have to apologize to the families and the other institutions about this incident.
Meanwhile, recovery efforts are underway as well at St. Sebastian Catholic Church. On Monday, one of the locations hit by a series of blasts in Sri Lanka that killed 290 people and wounded more than 500. The string of bombings tore through the churches and luxury hotels on Easter Sunday, with most of the attacks in and around Colombo. St. Sebastian Church in Negombo is located north of the capital. There was no claim of responsibility for the attacks, which mainly took place during church services or at hotel breakfast buffets. Now, Sri Lanka is accounted for the bulk of the dead and wounded, although government officials said 32 foreigners were killed, including British, US, Turkish, Indian, Chinese, Danish, Dutch, as well as Portuguese and Japanese nationals. And away from Sri Lanka now, more than 1,000 homes flooded in parts of Quebec, Canada. As of Sunday, according to the CBC, now the Canadian Armed Forces were dispatched to help local communities. Roughly 200 troops arrived in Laval as the city faced rising waters along rivers and channels, CBC reported. Forecasters are predicting no major precipitation for the rest of April in Quebec, giving residents some hope that the worst of the flooding may have just been nearing its end. And away from the international front, it's now time to bring you business news back home in Nigeria. Now talking business now, the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries has said that the refinery being built by Dangote Group is expected to reduce the need for fuel imports in West Africa. OPEC, in the current edition of its World Oil Outlook, noted that the refinery would refine as much as 650,000 barrels of crude oil per day. The Group Executive Director, Strategy, Portfolio Development and Capital Projects, Dangote Industries Limited, Devakumar Edwin, said OPEC was correct in its estimation, adding that all hands were on deck to deliver the refinery on time. According to Dangote Group's ongoing refining and petrochemicals project, it can meet up to 100% of the domestic need for the petroleum products, that's petrol, diesel, kerosene and aviation fuel, leaving the surplus for export in line with OPEC's expectation. He added that the high volume of petrol output from the Dangote refinery would reform and transform Nigeria from a petrol import-dependent country to an exporter of refined petroleum products. That's it in business news. This hour still to come. We have entertainment and sports news. In the world of entertainment, now we are talking Easter, as it is a festival and a holiday commemorating the resurrection of Jesus from the dead. It is described in the New Testament as having occurred on the third day after his burial following his crucifixion by Romans at Calvary. In the season, Plus TV Africa went out to speak with a few Nigerians on what Easter means to them and how they would be celebrating this holiday season and as it wraps up, and this was what they had to say.
Well, we're celebrating the rebirth of our Lord Jesus Christ. And again, we have to remember the reason for the season. They say a public holiday Friday and Monday, but many people don't remember the reason for the season. Remember the season and remember the reason, so that we should all be good. Remember the death of our Lord Jesus Christ. He died for you and I, and forever we are saved. Just believe and have your faith in God, for He's there to treat you well.
Easter is about sacrifice, love, family, you know. Well, just a little bit of it. I'll be spending it at, family, friends, just chilling, hanging, having food after food.
Easter for me is a time to reflect as well and be grateful to God for His gift. Because it says in John 3:16, for God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son. And that's this giving, this period. So you need to reflect on that and be cautious of the things you do to negate His gift to you. You need to be very, very grateful for that life that He gave to you.
Easter on its own is the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ, okay? So that means to me that no matter how dead a situation can be, life can come out of it. Dry bones will rise again, and I totally believe in that. That's my principle in life, that, no matter what's going on in your life, no matter how bad things seem to be, that things can always change. Things can always get better. I'm just going to hang out with my kids, my wife, we're going to go out, have fun. The holiday. I'm telling you, we'll probably lock ourselves up in the house and play, and
turn off your phone.
Yeah, because look at it now. If we try and go out, Easter time, there's too much crowd.
Easter is a time to show love, because it was out of love that Christ, died on the cross for us. And how will I be celebrating Easter? I don't know. I think I'll just be going out with friends, just have fun, basically.
Tonight.
Yes, like I'm here tonight, Alibaba, yeah. I'll just be having fun with friends, go out.
Easter, to me, we don't really celebrate Easter in my family, so I don't really have much to say about Easter. Because Jesus Christ is involved, I'll celebrate Him.
That's in our entertainment news. Coming up next now is sports updates. Talking sports updated, this hour will be focusing on boxing as British heavyweight boxer Kash Ali has been handed a 6-month ban and a £10,000 fine by the British Boxing Board of Control for biting David Price during their heavyweight fight in March. Ali was disqualified in the 5th round of the bout, having bitten Price in the torso during a tangle that saw both guys hit the canvas. Kash had previously bitten Price in the 2nd and 3rd rounds of the contest. Ali got criticised from several quarters of the boxing world and in the wake of the fight issued an apology to Price, his family, team, as well as the whole boxing community. His trainer Adam Edges has reacted to this punishment, stating that his word got off lightly. He described Ali as a good guy who simply lost his head and has to serve his time. Adam expressed his optimism of Ali learning from this experience and getting back to the ring in winning ways. Now, Nigeria modern table tennis talent Ajoke Ojumu started her debut at the 2019 World Championships on a good note after recording a convincing 4-1 win over Luxembourg's Sarah Meyer in the group opener in Budapest. Now, the 19-year-old was excited in her first ever win on the world stage and said she had to battle nerves and adhere to her coach's instruction to secure her maiden victory at the World Championships. The battle for places in the main draw for African players will be determined today when the final group matches are played. Africa's trio of Arina Quadri of Nigeria and Egypt's Amar Assar and Dinah Misref are awaiting their continental counterparts to join them in the elite stage of the championship, which will commence on Tuesday tomorrow. And that's a news roundup of events at this hour from our Lagos studio at this hour. For more news, update and broadcast, please follow us at Plus TV Africa. That's on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. And please do remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Plus TV Africa. We'll bring you more news at the top of the hour. Do stay with us. Many thanks for watching. I'm David Alabi.
Hey, what's up, guys? You're welcome to another edition of Plus Event, and I remain your host, Ifeoluwa Oshukeye.
Your absence isn't an excuse anymore, as Plus Events is all you need, as we bring you the glitz, the glamour, and loads of fun.
Oh, definitely. By no question. He's a living legend.
Oh, God forbid, Holy Ghost fire, no?
I just want to be blown away. I want to be wild.
This is 11 years of doing it.
I'm surrounded by so much positivity.
No, it's okay.
Yo, what's up, my people? It's your boy Starboy Terry. You're watching
Plus Event
on Plus TV.
Stay glued to Plus TV Africa every Saturday and Sunday, 4:30 p.m. West African time.
You're watching Plus TV Africa, and this is Tea Time.
I loved the energy when I came in here. It was so positive. I was like, I can't live here.
My real names are Akbofio Obo, Akborobo Mere.
I think my father is a comedian because most times when he calls me, he's like, yo, make sure you use condom, you know, them girls out there.
So are you telling me I should have shot my shots?
Ife, you are my younger brother.
Age is nothing but a number. Well, I'm a vampire.
I believe in equal rights for women, and I also believe that a man is the head of the house, so we need to draw our limits somewhere.
It feels so good. Now can I do my jam now?
Yeah, you can.
Thank you.
First point of accountability is asking questions.
Hello and welcome to Plus Sports and Plus TV Africa. I am Udoka Njoko.
Hi everyone, welcome to Plus Training.
You cannot continue to recycle poverty while you're spending a lot of money on unproductive ventures.
The government has to feel the impact.
Honorable Commissioner, sir, welcome to the show.